take complete 90 control.
We'll just have to see exactly what they do with this free real estate that they have gained. The one factor that they have not considered is Petsu right now, who I believe is inside of Memorial Room, and he is ready to pounce on his prey as soon as that clock starts to reach the dying seconds of the round. But I do believe the Trash Bandits have also managed to catch up on that because they did have Hafo on flank watch. But as things stand right now, 30 seconds left for an execution. You're basically going up against 3 defenders with 1 elsewhere on the map. If you want to get that diffuser down, now is the time to do so. But Katsola's going to put a very early start off to that with the MP5K, shutting down Harvey effectively, leaving Trash Bandits with about 12 seconds left to get the diffuser down. The smokes will start to come out, and that's going to be a C4 double kill to clean up both Kuzvo and Hafo. And the lone player of Kick is going to get cleaned up by Petsu, who just rotated up the red staircase and dealt with that last remaining IQ, barely even had to lift a finger.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic example of a deep roam. The Valk, widely basically an intel operator, but let's not forget a very heavily proficient fragger, the powerful MPX. Perhaps at points in its history, it's been a Marmite gun where you either love it or you hate it, but it is in fact very, very powerful, and you can't deny the power of a nitro cell. Very, very good deep roam coming out there. And again, it's one of them. We saw all the attackers kind of stack up on one and a little bit more of an exit. 3 of them dying in the dying seconds, basically in the same spot within 3 paces of each other. And when you're grouping up in that way, you're just opening yourself up to A, a deep roam, and B, a nitro cell. Look what Valkyrie's got 2 of.
It still kind of confuses me, and I will tell you, Tom, I'm relatively befuddled at the fact that Trash Bandits, they are a relatively stubborn team, especially when it comes to those AVG attacks, because twice up until right now, they've tried to put themselves in a fatal funnel through that vault door from the top of Red Staircase, and twice in a row it has failed. But also, in both of their attacks on AVG, we have not seen them a single time spreading their forces and trying to actually establish a perimeter outside of AVG. That's why you have Study Balcony, so you can exert pressure from there and potentially try to get the frag onto Katsola, who has been consistently playing the Wamai instead of Study and challenging that long angle towards the top of Red Staircase. Trash Bandits, they needed to actually get something done a bit more differently. They needed to cook up something much more spicy to actually successfully pull out an AVG win. But unfortunately, they're not going to get the chance, as we're going to be moving on to first floor kitchen and dining for the last round in the first half.
Absolutely. A victory here for Trash Bandits would still count as kind of a victory in the half, because, as a defender, you want to take 4 of your 6 defensive rounds. Machine Soldiers on track to do that, but Trash Bandits, it's been back and forth this entire game, hasn't it? And whilst Machine Soldiers are now on the back of a, I believe, 2 game win streak, Trash Bandits, they definitely got the ability to take this top site. We are going to see them approach again predominantly from that south side, so we are seeing them stack up and push as a team. Not the worst idea, but it hasn't worked for them so far.
Yeah, and the main reason why it's not going to be working all too well is because of that dynamic duo, Petsu and Katsola playing both the Mozzie and the Mute, which is going to hinder Trash Bandits' overall progress, which, as we know, they are relatively proficient at clearing out roamers, but this is just going to make their day so much more difficult. Soggy and Petsu are going to exchange a couple of shots, and a frag grenade will be tossed out that unfortunately will not connect with the Mozzie player inside of that trophy room. And at the exact same time, we'll see Hafo with that little sound cue indicating that she will send out a Gemini replicator to do a bit of scout work right now. And so far, this is looking a-okay for Machine Soldiers. They have wasted more than half of the entire round, and they still hold the top floor. On the opposite side of things, Trash Bandits, they need to pick up the pace, and that is a really good way to do that by removing Petsu from play, as well as the Pulse. But look at this, it's going to be Trash Bandits. They find themselves in Memorial Room right now. They're splitting their overall attack so that they can pinch on Apex, who I believe is the lone defender inside of Ace side. Rastin is also on the opposite end, but it's going to be kicked to shut down Apex, and we find ourselves in a 2v5 situation right now. Machine Soldiers, it's going to be difficult for them to try to salvage this one out, as Trash Bandits, they can just waltz right on in and get that diffuser down. Harvey is going to shut down Rastin as well, and Katsola, the last lone defender inside of that laundry room. I have no doubt about the fact that there will be a whole load of gun barrels pointing in his general direction. C4 will go out, but sadly it will not bear any fruit, and that is going to be Kick. He's going to shut down the last remaining defender, and if I'm Trash Bandits right now, I would be patting myself on the back because we just closed off a first half with the scoreline of 3-3.
Yeah, and a couple of misplays coming out from the machine soldiers there. Petsu getting a bit angry, getting a bit, hungry for the kill, pushes forward and gets removed. Then we see Katsola. He stays on that top floor far too long. He drops eventually, but he's only got one route into sight. And as soon as he made his presence known, you saw three players turn and just dome him. So, again, the rest of it you can put down to 1v1s, and these two teams, they seem reasonably well matched in terms of general skill level. Their gunplay, they're kind of matching each other out, but when it comes to the macro strategy, it's a little bit of an issue because we are seeing the mentality that you need competitive play perhaps erode a little bit as we go into Trash Bandits' defensive half.
Now, I'm genuinely curious to what Trash Bandit has been cooking up for us right now. Just right off the bat, they're going to be employing a rather different strategy altogether, and it seems to me that Trash Bandits will be anticipating a lot of pressure from that study side, as we just saw a glimpse of Harvey placing down a shield by the top of the main staircase, which is a relatively strong position to hold if you want to contest that study doorway. But it's going to be entirely up to Machine Soldiers as to how they want to go about this particular attack. I'm really unsure what their main beachhead is going to be. They could possibly take control of Trophy because there is going to be some presence on the side of Trash Bandits over there. And right off the bat, we can see that W35 is also bringing out the first hard breacher in this entire best of 3 series, or specifically this Villa match.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if the main priority is to stop them taking Study, because if they take Study, especially with that Sophia, they can open up both sides to Study and basically form a kill box from the windows and the balcony. That's got to be a priority.
Yeah, we are going to see W35 launch out a pair of Excalibur's pellets on that triple wall, as Petsu with that Gemini Replicator will do some initial scout work right now. And it doesn't seem as if they located any defenders because they most likely have retreated back towards the southern part of the map, which does seem to be the case. All of Trash Bandits, they have forfeited complete control of Trophy and Statuary and are moving back. But look at this Hoffo, down over by the mudroom or bike room as you'd like to call it, preparing himself for an eventual flank.
Yeah, approaching halfway point of the round, and we are seeing both teams still a full 5-stack, although they are getting ever closer to this site. It seems a very much controlled roam clear, as we do see Machine Soldiers start to test the utility.
Still a 5v5 scenario right now, and Machine Soldiers, they have really slowed down the overall pace, which it's not necessarily what they needed right now. They really need to put the pedal to the metal right now, and we can see that they are going to start to ingress towards that 90 hallway, as the C4 will also explode in the meantime, but it won't net a single frag. And we can see W35 right now preparing that X-Kairos detonator to open up a crouch hole into the vault. Now, this is already much better than Trash Bandits' overall attack strategy, but still, they are primarily focusing on a northern take of the entire building. It's going to be kick, to get the opening frag onto Katsola, putting us in a 5v3 situation. Machine Soldiers, man disadvantage, make that 2-man disadvantage, as Kick will get himself a double kill, but Petsu is there to respond by removing that Jaeger and putting him out of commission. Now, 30 seconds left for the Machine Soldiers to execute onto site, and Apex is going to put us yet again on an even playing field as he removes Soggy. Now, the last couple of remaining defenders, they are spread relatively thin across the entire bomb site, and they're going to have to pay close attention to Apex, who pushes through that study door. He knows the location of that mute player and is going to deal with him accordingly. Now the diffuser is going down and the last player alive is also going to be shut down by Petsu. And that's Machine Soldiers claiming the first round in the second half.
Yeah, fantastic round there. A very calm, controlled roam clear, and then a slow encroachment onto the site. And there just seemed to be no response. The Maestro very docile in that vault area, still checking cams and that, but with only 20 seconds left on the clock, perhaps he should instead be orientating the cams and letting his dead teammates do the call outs instead, because you can be on your cameras all you want and get all the intel you want. At the end of the day, a camera is not going to stop a bullet. Whilst, you know, there is a lot of good things coming out from the attacking side here. There is some elements of greatness coming out as well. That was a very unconventional setup for the study area that I think, it perhaps put this machine soldier side off attacking that study side. Those featsy holes, not reinforcing everything. It's unconventional. And so I think the rationale was possibly stay away from what we don't expect. We are going to see a return to the aviator side, and it'll be interesting to see if we see that same setup come out.
I'm honestly not exactly sure if Trash Bandits will be employing the same strategy. I believe that they will be, but the main issue is that while their initial overextension into Trophy was a good idea and it did waste a buttload of time, it really came down to the fact that those dying seconds of the round, they weren't really properly positioned to pull off a successful win. It was over by that small little corner of where, directly above where Soggy was standing, that we saw one player hiding behind, one player was inside a vault, and on the side of Trash Bandits, especially during those last 30 seconds, there was little to no refrag potential, which is kind of what led to their actual downfall of the entire round. And Machine Soldiers, yeah, while we may not be the biggest fans of them fatally funneling themselves through one particular doorway, it did work out for them that time around. In Trash Bandits, yeah, they weren't properly positioned to actually respond to that.
There we see the first kill coming out onto Hoffo. Big kill coming out from the Ash, and that's perhaps going to set the tone of the round.
Definitely a good opening frag for Machine Soldiers as the drones will pass by Apex, continuing to gather as much information as possible. And even though you don't notice a player hiding behind a particular corner or piece of cover, that is still valuable information nevertheless. And so Machine Soldiers, they are going to once again continue for a northern to southern push. And right now they do have a lot of time to try to divide their forces. 1 minute and 40 seconds left means that they could potentially also go for a study take if their heart desires, but it's going to be Kick to shut down Kutsola instead, putting us in a 4v4 situation with 90 seconds left.
Absolutely, the kills coming out thick and fast now at this stage. Very, very different to the previous round where we had no kills at this stage. A much faster pace being set in round 8. Control is established here, and we are in fact seeing the defenders being very much crunched in, and that vault will get opened. I don't think he'll get the Bandit charge in time, but he will, and that is big, stymieing the assault into vault.
That was a really, really good, amazing 200 IQ play coming out from Soggy, although it's going to be Rastin to get that kill, but Soggy is there to actually get the refrag as well. And Trash Bandits, they do have the man disadvantage as we see the Hibana peering through and removing the head of the Maestro. Now, she can get that diffuser down as Apex is providing cover from inside of Study. Will catch out 2 players, but unfortunately unable to net the frag on either of them. Soggy chucking out a C4 will bear fruit, and he'll seal the deal by shutting down Apex in the exact same time. Trash Bandits, they're going to take themselves yet another round under their belt.
Very, very good plays there. They lost the site. They said, actually, no, we're not taking this from you. We're going to go back to the site and we're going to hold it, and hold it quite comprehensively. There was a couple of misplays, I think, perhaps in positioning with the Maestro again, sitting on their cameras and not really being aware of the imminent danger, and as you said, having his head removed whilst in vault. It didn't matter though, the C4s came out, the shots came out, and all in all, it was a very convincing victory to again level up the series at 4-4. Very, very impressive. We are now going to be heading over, perhaps against what people would predict, to this kitchen site. A lot of people would expect you to go over to the trophy site, arguably the second most viable site on the map, but instead they've decided to eschew that trend and go straight to kitchen. So whether that's affected the operator selection on machine soldiers and whether it throws off their initial strategy should be interesting to see.
I mean, so far in dining and kitchen, we haven't necessarily had too much of convincing like overall stat line and victories. We saw the Trash Bandits as well as Machine Soldiers. They both managed to grab themselves a win on this particular bomb site whilst defending and attacking in the first half right now. But right off the bat, it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this one plays out because Machine Soldiers, they are relatively consistent with their attacker lineup. Not all too many fluctuations that could directly counter the Trash Bandits. I can only assume that they're going to be going for a top to bottom clear from that trophy side of things, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how that plays out.
Yeah, very risky to have your bomb carrier just opening the window immediately and peeking through. The Hibana trying to get that early opening onto the kitchen pantry wall, not being able to, but still risky. She's now rejoined the rest of her team in that top floor room.
Yeah, we can see that all of Machine Soldiers, they are relatively stacked up inside of the walk-in closet. One more Gemini Replicator will come out, gathering some more live information as they do spot out the Jaeger. And that technically means that they could get the opening frag, but no, it's actually going to be Kick to shut down Apex. That is exactly what Trash Bandits had needed, except for the fact that Katsola is within 3 seconds to respond and will shut down Harvey. That Wamai has been wiped off the face of the earth, and such a potent operator for the defensive squad, they no longer have those magnets at their disposal.
Yeah, absolutely. One by one, those operators to get stronger, similarly to Legion, the longer a round goes on. We are now going to see top floor control pretty much established, and it's now down to them to see what they can do with it. But Trash Bandits will come across Soggy, taking out Cat Solar, taking that vital IQ off the board.
So already, Trash Bandits have been so much more proficient at holding the top floor and this site in particular compared to their opponents, Machine Soldiers, who unfortunately they lost a lot of early roam presence in the first half. And so they're able to just continue to hold this entire bomb site with an iron grasp. We can see Cuzvo tossing out a couple of toxic babes towards that laundry site, forcing the Machine Soldiers to just, redirect their entire forces, and hopefully they'll move towards the open arms of Kick, who is just currently sitting underneath the red staircase. Very low HP he's on currently, but it's going to be Kick to actually shut down W35. That Hibana is going to be off the board, and he'll manage to get himself a double kill. That's a triple for him in the entire round, and now the lone sledge Rastin in a 1v4 situation with Diffuser in a very awkward position to be picked up. He does have full HP, and if he manages to at least shut down Kick, it's going to be a relatively good start. There goes the Jaeger, evening out the odds a tiny bit, but he cannot simply recover that Diffuser without leaving himself exposed. He's going to be forced to push in through that laundry side, and unfortunately for him, it's going to be Cuzvo shutting him down, and Trash Bandits, they will once again take the lead. And mind you, this is technically the first time that a single one of these two teams has actually won 2 rounds in a row.
I don't necessarily know about that, but I do know that that was a very, very impressive performance from Trash Bandits. Kickoff, he's having an absolute laugh, isn't he? He's absolutely on a tear, to quote Thatcher. Whereas, Machine Soldiers, they've got a widespread load of abilities, but at the moment, the synergy just isn't there. They're not pushing, and they're not getting these refrags on the push, which is why Kickoff is able to pick up the 1, the 2, the 3 kills as he goes, because he's not having to engage 2 people at once. Even if there's only a gap between us of a second, he's able to engage one, turn, engage another. And he's getting these quickfire kills, which completely stymies the momentum of the Machine Soldiers. Another thing to note there is early on, we saw W35 with that Hibana actually use all of her utility for not much gain in the first 30 seconds. Utility drain meta aside, it's supposed to be the last 30 seconds, not the first. All of her utility gone in the first 30, and that was quite important because then they couldn't actually egress onto site through any means other than doors. Lastly, the sledge sat outside with 20 seconds to go. Just give up, son. Just give up. You're not going to get from outside into sight, pot 4 heads in 20 seconds.
I mean, to a certain degree, I kind of disagree with you about the Hibana and her overall utility usage, because those Excaris spells that were placed on that triple wall over by Trophy, Statuary, so they could actually try to remove those roamers really early on. So as a team, you have to ask yourself the question, what do you value more, shutting down roamers early on or saving your utility for an execution onto site?
I mean, the thing with that is they could have droned out and they could have pushed from the other side of the map. As we see these early kills coming out, Soggy with a fantastic C4 kill onto Rasta in the early pick in the round.
Well, that is going to dispose of 2 whole frag grenades, and now Petsu is the only operator that still has 2 grenades in her pocket right now. And Machine Soldiers off to a bad start as they can't really seem to get that triple wall open just yet. Petsu on the opposite side will send in yet another Gemini Replicator to scout out Hofo's live location, although they are unable to actually seal the deal and remove Hofo's head at this current moment right now. Machine Soldiers, yeah, they seem to be in a bit more reckless situation, kind of unsure how they should move on from here as we approach the halfway mark of round number 10.
Yeah, a bit of a desperate play coming out for Hibana there as she puts her X-Kairos onto that triple wall, but there's a bandit on the other side. What are you going to do? You've got a minute and a half left of the round, and unfortunately you've now wasted all your utility when you didn't have to. Get a book under there, open up that floor, scare them, but these frags are going to start coming out as Cat Solar with the IQ puts down Kickoff.
Yeah, it's definitely good that he started to push in from the southern part of the entire map. Spreading their forces is a much better call as opposed to just pushing in from Master Bedroom. Katsola is going to swing and remove the head of Soggy, putting us in a effectively 3v3 situation, but now 4v3 as Petsu will be recuperated right now, and Harvey is going to continue to contest that bathroom and shut down Petsu, who was already on 20 HP right now. So evening out the odds, it's going to be a really good job, but at the exact same time, Hoffa was there to respond, and Apex will seal the deal and finalize that trade out. 2v2 right now with 20 seconds left. And Trash Bandits, they are going to take some damage right now. The HP pool looks relatively even on both sides as well, but it's going to be Harvey that's going for that flank, and he'll get shut down by the Hibana. And yeah, the Maestro all on his lonesome is unfortunately going to be pushing daisies, as Apex just had to hold one angle altogether, and boom, there he goes. It's going to be Machine Soldiers evening things out yet again.
Yeah, and that's quite a big victory because they, whilst they did use up the Hibana charges at the start, they then redirected their efforts. They came at the enemy from a variety of different angles, enveloped them, and crunched into the site. And unfortunately for Trash Bandits, they weren't equal to the task. Bandits been doing very well, Soggy doing incredibly, and Kickoff, look, 16 and 8, a KD of 2. He's doing his part for the team. That's not to say the rest of the team aren't. Again, Bandit doing incredibly, and we've seen some good plays come out from the rest of them. And at this stage, though, they are going to have to start pulling their weight just a tiny bit more, because Kickoff has started to get fragged on more and more as the rounds have progressed. His momentum has stymied a little bit, because earlier I believe he was actually sitting on a 2.5 KD. So, it's not a huge difference in the grand scheme of things, but they just need to kind of book their ideas up and get these strategies in place, make sure that they execute. And the Machine Soldiers, well, they just need to keep doing what they're doing, because that last round 10, they did incredibly well.
I have to agree with you on that, and the main reason why Kickoff has been so proficient in this entire matchup is due to the fact that he remains really unpredictable and is effectively allowed to, or is capable of catching his opponents with their pants down, which is something the Machine Soldiers, yeah, if they really, really want to shut him down early, they have to make sure to, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, and we even see this early aggression into that master site. Now, that's a push that I particularly like because you've got a lot of angles to cover, but if you push as a team from that master site, you can actually get yourself into positions to envelop the enemy. Although, interestingly, I don't think we've yet got anyone playing on that south balcony, which has been a bit of a theme so far, hasn't it?
I'd have to agree with you on that one. I mean, I'm not exactly sure why we've been seeing this consistently throughout every single AVG attack, but they just don't want to employ Study Balcony into their attack strategies anymore all that much, which is kind of surprising. I do believe at a certain point in the first half we did see Harvey assume a position outside of that Study Balcony, but other than that, that was about all of the entire gameplay we've seen with the southern part of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why you couldn't push Kickoff out by just smashing a window or two. Just scare them. Just let them know we can be here and we can push you from here. And then if you want to complete the rest of your 90 take as a whole team, you can do so. But you'll put the team on notice that they could go from anywhere. Instead, the defenders, they know exactly where the attackers are. They know exactly where they're coming from. All they can do at this point, realistically, is hold their angles.
Now, that's all Trash Bandits really, really need to do right now. Machine Soldiers, they're once again going to be employing the exact same strategy as W35 will go for that X-Kairos breach on the vault door, but this time around, Soggy is nowhere close enough to be found to try to get that bandit trick off as he is down below, I believe, at the bottom of Red Staircase, and he'll be momentarily setting himself up for a flank. I believe he still has a C4 in hand, which could be utilized to deny a default plant, but starting things off, it's actually going to be Kick to receive the first bit of damage, and he will also go down. Beautiful opening frag from Apex as he actually finally decides to move to that Study Balcony, and this is exactly where Machine Soldiers can excel in because they can start pinching this entire bomb site. On the flip side of things, Soggy is going to get the refrag with the C4, shutting down Sola. And Apex, in the meantime, is also going to be pushing daisies as Harvey's MP5K will put an end to his life. Now, W35 will start getting that diffuser down as Petsu will also shut down Hoffa, but Soggy on a double kill right now, and Harvey will get one for himself, leaving Petsu with diffuser in hand, 1v3 situation, and there is nothing that can be done. That is all she wrote, and Trash Bandits, they'll win round number 11 and put themselves on match point, or map point. Technically.
Yeah, it was an incredibly risky gambit from Soggy there. The bandit abandoning the vault wall, leaving it to be opened, which exposed vault, prevented those rotations from A site to B site and vice versa. Very, very risky. But then he conducted the wide flank, came up red stairs, and managed to pinch the diffuser. Cuzvo only just in the nick of time managing to push around, take out the diffuser as it was going down, and then clutch the round out. But, perhaps some skin of your teeth play and not the secure victory I'd have expected from a 3-0 operator ratio.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of expecting a bit more from Machine Soldiers in that particular scenario because, look, they basically were holding all of the cards, right? They assumed they were able to actually exert some presence from Study, which is, really, really good because we haven't been seeing that all too much in this particular matchup. At the exact same time, they managed to breach open Vault, which, as we know, is a defensive power position because you can sit inside a Vault comfortably and basically hold two angles from the main doorways. And despite the fact that Machine Soldiers, they had so much in their favor, so much working against their opponents, it was still Trash Bandits who rose victorious in that previous round.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're seeing a bit of an unconventional setup here in this kitchen site as that wall, the triple wall facing the western entrance onto B site, is actually opened up on both sides of a single reinforce, and that allows them to peek from a variety of different micro angles. If the attackers come from that direction, what we're actually seeing is probably going to be another top floor roam clear come out from this Machine Soldiers side as they need to take that top floor control in order to be able to effectively counter any roams, and then envelop the site from above.
Pretty sure we did catch a glimpse of that pre-placed C4 from Soggy. He's just gonna wait for one of his opponents to actually vault in through Master Bedroom so he can detonate that. And so Machine Soldiers, they have taken control of the walk-in closet, and they are going to start moving towards that western part of the top floor and assume complete control of the entire, or basically just trophy and statuary in its entirety. And we are also going to see Rastin start moving down the Astro staircase as well, so he can potentially try to catch the defenders off guard. Apex, in the meantime, sitting inside of Laundry right now. Very low HP already, as shots have been exchanged, but this is the moment where we need to see that vertical play actually come to fruition. That's going to be Cuzvo getting the opening frag onto Rastin. Katsola trying to get the refrag, and he will do so beautifully, removing Hoffel from play. And yeah, Machine Soldiers, they're just going to go about this entire take like nothing's really happened. They're going to brush that off their shoulders and continue with their initial plan. Frag Grenade will be prepped from Petsu as well, but he's going to choose not to throw it out instead. And we kind of do find ourselves in a stalemate right now as Machine Soldiers. They are taking their sweet time with this execution.
Yeah, quite a lot of them aren't actually terribly close to the site. Bandit chasing the frag instead of going to stop that wall from being opened, and will actually get the kill and secure the diffuser onto W35, who I think was actually on his drone. Very, very risky.
That was unfortunate timing from W35, and Petsu will even out the odds as he shuts down Kick, and look at that, Katsola's actually successfully recovered the diffuser as well. So, this round has effectively been blown wide open right now. The defenders, they're able to take up positions which the attackers might not necessarily expect, and that's going to be Apex getting the entry onto Cuzvo as they will make their way into sight. Now, Harvey and Soggy, specifically Soggy, will have to come up from the pantry staircase, and he will shut down Petsu as well. Harvey will shut down Apex, and the last player alive, it's Katsola right now in a 1v1 situation. He's going to be forced to put down that diffuser as Soggy will try to creep up towards, try to locate exactly where the diffuser is being planted, but no, it's actually going to be Katsolo wide swinging around and shutting down that Bandit to clutch this one out. And Machine Soldiers, they are not out of this one just yet. We will be moving on to overtime.
Oh, you hate to see it. Pros never fake. What happened? What happened to it? That aside, you know, it was a very, very well executed fake, you know, to clutch out the round. But let's make no mistake, there was some incredible plays. I want to say, especially by Soggy in that round, the decision to leave the exploding wall and instead chase the kill out, you know, possibly looking to pad out his KD, possibly, you know, a variety of different things. But when he saw the drone go out, that was when he knew. He locked onto it, and there was nothing that W35 could do to stop him from picking up that frag. Secured the diffuser and killed a lot of time for the attackers, and then also with a very impressive pick through a hatch up onto Iana. Unfortunately, the diffuser was then recovered, and we all see how that ended. But the defenders there, the trash, you know, they shouldn't be dissuaded by that round. They did very, very well and took it right to the dying moments. They shouldn't be unhappy with that. We go back to the AVG site where we see Soggy. Again, you know, he didn't do what he usually does, which is to use his Bandit ability to electrify and destroy breaching utility as it hits a wall. Obviously, the Hibanas, they've not been used to great effect so far, but I do wonder if we'll see him do what he did in round 11, which is where he abandoned the site and went on another beautiful wide roam. And Soggy has really turned up in these dying grounds.
I will have to agree with you on that. Obviously, I do, to a certain degree, believe that he puts himself in these unconventional positions. Yeah, it's not, it happens unintentionally, right? Because he's just kind of forced into awkward positions, and then he's like, okay, we're rolling with it, and then boom, magic happens. So yeah, it's gonna be, if Soggy comes up with some really interesting and just overall crazy plays like we saw in the last round, he's going to have to be forced into it by his opponents. But on the flip side of things, we are going to actually see the first major operator fluctuation on the side of Machine Soldiers, as they will forfeit that Yana in lieu for a Jackal, which Jackal is gonna make his debut in this particular matchup for the first time.
I can't help but feel like that Jackal is a response to what happened in round 11, where Soggy went on that lovely long roam. The thing with that is, Soggy is staying on site for the most part, so Jackal isn't going to be useful for tracking him down, because he's not roaming from the beginning. If he does choose to roam, it's going to be a very late, delayed roam, which then there'll be no footprints to pick up on, because he's not in the attacker's area of the map until the dying seconds. So I think the Jackal pick was a response to that. Whether it's effective, I don't think so.
Even if they don't eventually put that Inox scanner to good use, don't get me wrong, that C7E assault rifle is still a really, really powerful weapon, and you can never go wrong with 2 smokes. But we're going to see the Inox come out, and it's going to pick up a pair of blue footprints, effectively translating into just 1 ping. And we can also see, I believe that is Hoffo positioning himself over by that red carpet, waiting to get a flank off, but a huge double kill coming out at exactly the same time from Apex and Rastin will shut down both Kickoff as well as Soggy, the 2 star players on the side of Trash Bandits relatively early on. The 50 seconds left for the Machine Soldiers to execute onto AVG.
Yeah, you can see there's actually not much contest on the B side. It's one angle. If they can get through, maybe even use smokes or something like that, they'd be able to egress onto site and get a plant down. But as it stands, whilst the Trash Bandits, they are all clustered together behind that bar, they are putting up a very effective holding all these angles that they need to.
I mean, usually one would argue that sitting in the exact same position on the defensive side means you're just sitting ducks, but Trash Bandits, they're rolling with it right now. But on the flop side of things, W35 will start getting that diffuser down, and Harvey in the meantime will be shut down. Hoffo tries to go for the wide swing, but the coverage is just so perfect on the side of Machine Soldiers. Apex and Petsu each getting 1 for their own troubles, and Machine Soldiers, yeah, they put us at a 6-7 score line. They are effectively 1 round away from claiming map number 1 all to themselves.
Yeah, and it was a very impressive push. Those 2 early picks coming out very, very, very effective, because they had that man advantage for the longest time and they could take advantage of it, and they pinched in and they were eventually able to get the plant down. Not something that we've actually seen happen too often, and although everyone died about a millisecond after the plant went down, I do believe that's actually the first plant that has gone down. So, it's one of those things that it shows that they were able to regress onto site without actually picking up every single frag, and that's quite significant, because again, we've referred to it as the start. This was always going to be a frag heavy map. We've been proven right, and that's reassuring. We are going to go back to this AVG site with the Machine Soldiers back in control on defense. I'm interested to see how they adapt, or if they adapt their setup. They're not going to use the same setup as the Trash Bandits. They're going to completely seal off those study walls, and conspicuously, we don't have a bandit.
I don't think a bandit is all that necessary, to be honest, because number 1, Trash Bandits, they're not bringing out a single hard breacher, so what use do you really have a bandit, or why do you actually need a bandit in the first place? You could potentially electrify a deployable shield. There's only 1 that Kutsola has actually brought out, but even then, it's not really worth the operator pick, and instead, Machine Soldiers are correct in the sense that bringing out intel operators like Valk and Maestro is the correct play. And at the exact same time, that dynamic duo that is the Jaeger and Wamai will burn a lot of those projectiles coming from the Trash Bandits, which they have loved to employ in their strategies thus far.
I mean, I've got to partially disagree, because whilst it was the correct play, it was a risky play, because, hard breaches on this site are very, very powerful, and there was every opportunity to 6th pick onto a Hibana. So not taking an anti-hard breach was possibly a misplay, but it doesn't matter, as Soggy will take out Rastin, the Mute falling for the first kill of the round.
Yeah, and I guess to a certain degree you can consider Mute to be an anti-hard breach, but then again, that is primarily going to be used as intel or drone denial effectively, because Trash Bandits, that has been one of their most favorite tools whilst on attack. They just love their drones, man, and they have been so proficient at gathering intel and dealing with roamers, as we just saw a live example of. Rastin was the first to go down. Now Trash Bandits, once again, opting for a north to south take. They have full control of Trophy and Statuary, and they are moving towards 90, Landing, and Wolf, although Petsu is setting himself up for the exact same thing, a late round flank, which has worked wonders in rounds prior.
Yeah, they've got a complete 90 control here. A very well placed Sophia charge to try and disorient Apex. But it hasn't yet affected a complete 90 hold. They've got the corner, but they don't have that western hallway. And Hoffo, quite a lot behind the squad here, setting up those flank cams ready. Because they don't want to fall to the kind of things that they suffered from in the first place.
I mean, Afer, it's just really, really good that Trash Bandits are in the right mentality and setting up for potential flanks, but Hoffo's holding onto that diffuser, because if, for example, God forbid that he actually goes down, diffuser will be far from home, but aside from that, Machine Soldiers, they're gonna net 2 frags all to themselves, putting us in a 3v3 situation. As the Trash Bandits, they will now have to put the pedal to the metal and get that diffuser down with 35 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be Consola to shut down Soggy on a double kill currently right now, and Hoffo and Kick, if they have to try to redirect their approach, I'm assuming that going for that default plant behind the vault door is not an option right now that they can effectively execute. But Kick, if he's going to rotate over towards the top of main staircase, looking to find the head of Katsola, and he will do so brilliantly on double kill right now, and he's waiting for that main staircase rotation. C4 will come out, but sadly it will not connect, and now Kickoff is able to provide brilliant coverage as he tries to get kill onto Petsu on a triple kill. Really, really good stuff in W35, the Alda. That is the right weapon for the job right now, but he has to try to only get headshots, and unfortunately for him, Trash Bandits, they are going to win round number 14 right now, and we are going to see one more round of overtime before we figure out exactly which team will take map number 1.
Yeah, very well played. The rotation of rounds from Kickoff being, I think the defining moment of that round. A couple of misplays, perhaps coming out from the attackers. I don't think Iana is the person you should be leaving behind as a, putting down the flank drones and watching the flanks, because she's far more effective, like scouting out the objective for the attackers. But, it didn't really matter too much in the end. And in the end, unfortunately, Maestro, that Alder, the arms and the player model, it takes up a lot of visual space on the screen. And Kickoff, he knew he was facing the Maestro. He decided to go prone, and I don't even think the Maestro saw him before he went down.
No, I don't think he actually caught a single pixel of the player laying down inside of Study. That was just really, really good post-plan situation coming out from Trash Bandits.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to go across to the second most viable site on the map. According to a lot of people, that is going to be this trophy area. That triple wall not yet fully reinforced. I'm sure we'll see that come out in the end. We are going to see a double Wamai and Jaeger combination, so they're setting up for the anti-throwable meta. Although, that said, we are seeing breaching charges come out from Katsola, and quite conspicuously, we're seeing a lack of a Ying. So, whilst the throwable meta is viable, it's not 100% as effective as it could be.
I mean, we've really only seen Ying being brought out 2 to 3 times in this entire matchup, and those Candelas were primarily focused towards, clearing out the roamers, especially, kind of a bit reminiscent of the last time the Machine Soldiers were attacking in Trash Bandits. They overextended themselves into AVG. We saw the Machine Soldiers, they created some holes at the top of the walls to chuck a couple of Candelas in, and that was effectively how they used Ying in its entirety. Now, Machine Soldiers, yet again, opting for a south to north take. Nothing too out of the ordinary. It has been the norm for this entire match so far. But this is basically for the first map right now. It could literally be anybody's game. It has been extremely back and forth between these two squads.
Yeah, it has, and we're at 7-7. Like that in itself makes it clear that this has been an extremely competitive match. Kickoff has absolutely popped off, I think, and you can't take any plaudits away from him, whichever way this last round falls. But
Mm.
the machine soldiers, they are going to make a very controlled, very calm approach onto the site. Still no flanks coming out as of yet, though.
No, we can see on the side of the soldiers that they have also decided to start applying pressure inside of that master bedroom area, which Trash Bandits they will continue to hold. Now, that bathroom window being broken down will leave Kickoff exposed, but W35 he's instead going to get the opening frag onto Hoffo. No more goo mines as they have all been flushed down the drain, leaving Trash Bandits in a 4v5 situation with about 70 seconds left to burn.
Yeah, is this going to be the match where we truly see that 20-second mechanics come into play? There's a lot of utility on the field, and the attack has been very slow. Although Soggy will fall to catch Solar with as that IQ, and that's quite a big kill, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. Trash Bandits, they do seem to be in dire straits right now as they have so much that is going through their heads and a ton of different angles to worry about. But Kick, if he's going to fight back as he removes and shuts down Petsu as well as Katsola, leaving the diffuser down. What on earth was that? A triple kill coming out from Kickoff. He's been on fire right now, but W35, he's actually going to put an end to his reign of terror and recuperate his fallen teammate. Now, 2v2 situation that Harvey and Kuzma, they have got to clutch this one out. Diffuser is relatively far from home. Unsure if the machine soldiers can salvage this one out. They'll have to go purely for frags, and all Trash Bandits have to do is just wait out the clock. Kuzma will grab the frag onto his Rastin, W35 will now have to wide swing around looking for any potential heads across the map, but the clock will run out in Trash Bandits. They will take round number 15 and map number 1 on time alone. What an intense and just back-to-back match between these two squads.
Yeah, whoever did the seeding, you've played an absolute blind to have you. The tightest match we could have hoped for. I think, Kickoff, look at that. Look at those statistics. 23-12. Posting an incredible KD, an incredible performance to try and drag his team up. And, with some incredible clutch moments. He wasn't alive at the death there, but he absolutely decided that final round. Because, the Trash Bandits, they were in a deficit of players, and all of a sudden, here comes Kickoff with a big 3K in the last round to drag his team back from the death. Very well played. But, from both teams.
Yeah, both teams, they certainly brought their A game into this Villa matchup. While personally, according to like judging off of the strategies that we did see come to fruition, I myself did not necessarily agree with, the entire sort of tradition of just throwing your eggs into the exact same basket and then proceeding to drop your basket, as was the case with a lot of attacking rounds. But nevertheless, both of these two teams, they just proved what they're currently capable of, and they're able to actually deal with what's being thrown at them. Keep in mind that yeah, Maverick and Thermite bans, that does kind of to a certain degree of like hinder their overall potential for pulling off successful attacker wins and that kind of stuff. But those adaptations, those small adaptations to overall just change the pace of the games coming out from both squads, bringing out a lot of frag heavy operators. It worked wonders to a certain degree from both squads, and it really proved for an entertaining matchup, so to speak. It was just a real treat to watch.
Yeah, it really was. We saw a lot of interesting strategies come out, and we saw some quite incredible plays come out. Perhaps most notably from KC, but also coming out from Soggy and a variety of other players, as they all had their own little moments of brilliance. And
Mm.
unfortunately, for the Machine Soldiers, it did just fall to the Trash Bandits in the end, with some incredible heroics from KC in overtime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is going to effectively round off map number 1. It went the way of Trash Bandits. Final scoreline of 8-7. Now, we are going to cut to a short break before we will be actually back with Coastline, which is going to be our map number 2. Now, we already got a glimpse of how proficient these two teams are at just straight up fragging, but we're going to see we're going to see it being cranked up to 110 effectively as we move on to Coastline. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to stretch your legs, grab yourself a bite to eat and something to drink. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with map number 2. Until then.
Hello there, and welcome back to ESA Siege EU. It's play day 2 of the Contender series, and what a match we've had so far. 8-7, overtime match point falling to the Trash Bandits on map 1. Incredible scenes. Joined with
Yeah.
me is the talented caster. Joined with me is the talented caster, Two Doors. Two Doors, how you doing?
Well, I've got to say that the previous match, which we just witnessed, or of course map number one, it went down to the wire, and it took a toll on me, man. It was really, really intense to watch. And both of those two teams just in an outright slugfest, and I have no doubt about the fact that it's going to continue on for this map, 100%, and potentially it may even come down to the decider now. Just for a short recap, map number one, it took place in on Villa, in which we saw a really, really frag heavy sort of gameplay come out from both squads due to the fact that a lot of hard breachers were banned and removed from play. And so moving on to Coastline, which is stereotypically known as a frag heavy map, I have no doubt about the fact that a lot of what we saw in our previous map, Villa, will translate over into Coastline.
Yeah, absolutely. Coastline, renowned for being a frag heavy map, and it has many of the same features that Villa has. These wide, expansive, rotational routes. There's always 2 or 3 ways to get to an objective from any one point, and there's very seldom any areas that you can hold from just one angle. It's an attacker's paradise, it's a roamer's paradise, and I think we're going to see a lot more of the same. We're going to see these frags coming out thick and fast. I am quite interested to see how the bans pan out because naturally, we saw two hard breaches taken off the board in attack. I wonder if we'll see maybe a Hibana and a Thatcher perhaps, because Hibana, you use it for that VIP wall, you can use it from above or from stairs to open up that kitchen wall in pantry.
Yeah.
There's a whole wealth of options open to you that Hibana is very well suited for, that the other two hard breaches aren't. Thatcher, we did see that 20-second meta come into play in the dying rounds of the previous map. It'll be interesting to see if that makes an appearance here. But enough speculation, because we are going to move into the match and into the operator bans.
Yeah, so operator bans, they really set the overall tone for the match that we are going to experience. Obviously, you just touched on the fact that Hibana can be a really, really potent hard breacher on the attackers because she is one of the most effective ones specifically on Coastline. You can get rid of that billiards wall and open up some nice kill holes from above. And instead, we're actually going to see Machine Soldiers ban out Capitao as the first operator, which isn't necessarily something all too unorthodox. It might just boil down to the fact that Machine Soldiers hate going up against that Brazilian operator. And look at that, it's also going to be Hibana off the board. So hard breaching will become that much more challenging for Trash Bandits because keep in mind, yeah, Ace is currently still in his trial period for comp play.
Yeah, absolutely. We see the mirror ban coming out in defense, but I want to talk a little bit about that Capitao ban because I think the Capitao ban is a direct response to Machine Soldiers not wanting to include a Wamai in their opening lineup. Wamai effective against Capitao, but for everything else, there's Jaeger.
Yeah.
There's a whole host of reasons why Capitao is powerful, especially on that hooker site if you like engaging from Aqua Bulk. And there we also see a Goyo ban, which I'm not too thrilled about because I love playing Goyo. I love seeing him get played, but again, that's a reaction to the 20-second meta, which his deployable shields, his Vulcan shields, they very much added to. An interesting set of picks, but my question to you is, how viable do you think the VIP push on hooker will be?
Well, if that is a strategy that the Trash Bandits want to employ, moving into round number one, they're obviously going to have to bring out a Thermite just to get rid of that VIP wall and create a line of sight looking directly into billiards. That's that much more faster. But right off the bat, it doesn't seem as if they're going to opt for a 6-pick onto a potential hard breacher. Keep in mind that Maverick is also on the board, but yeah, you don't necessarily see him be brought out all too often. Obviously, if you have a couple of players who are proficient at playing Maverick, because keep in mind he is a 3-speed with a relatively strong gun, you can play him purely as a fragger, and if I'm not mistaken, he also has grenades in his pocket.
Absolutely, you're not wrong. But what I'm excited for here is the book playing players by Cuzvo on the side of the Trash Bandits. That suggests to me that we are going to see the Trash Bandits trying to take control of Sunrise, especially, as well as perhaps Blue Bar, and put pressure on the defenders by using that skeleton key to rip the floor from beneath their feet. That should be very, very interesting to see if it plays out. With the reinforcements up and without a Hibana on that VIP wall, they've got to take full VIP control before they even think about trying to open it up. And so I think they may shy away from VIP.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult for them, especially due to the fact that Soggy will be the opening death on the side of the Trash Bandits. Not even 15 seconds into the entire round of Machine Soldiers, they already have a distinct advantage moving into this one. And not just that, it's a highly impactful frag because it's going to make hunting down Petsu on that pulse that much more difficult for the Trash Bandits.
Yeah, absolutely not wrong. And as well, also, it makes finding those Valkyrie cams and those Jaeger ADSs that much more difficult. As we see another kill come out, this time onto KC, out from Cat Solo with that powerful MPX.
Wow, you can really tell the Machine Soldiers, they feel at home playing on Coastline right now. Not even a minute into the round, and bada bing, bada boom, Machine Soldiers already at a 2-man advantage. But Cuzvo is actually going to be there to respawn as he shuts down Petsu. Barely had all that much impact on the round as a whole, and Rastin is going to, yeah, seal the deal, finalize that trade, and shut down the Buck. Both the Buck and the Pulse sadly had little to no impact on the overall rounds. And while Trash Bandits, they do have a lot of time to work with right now, it is going to be an uphill battle from this point moving forward.
Yeah, you're looking now at fragging out. You do have two operators that are very capable of doing it, both of them with powerful weaponry and powerful utilities, able to cover their own flanks and push with a little bit of confidence behind them. But first, to do that, they've got to link up because on their own, especially against Machine Soldiers, when they've got such dominant control of this top floor site, I can't see either of them making an individual impact with a minute to go.
Yeah, the one thing that is going through Trash Bandit's mind right now is actually setting up favorable gunfights. They cannot challenge those 1v1 scenarios because Machine Soldiers, they have a ton of refrag potentials. You can see that they also have quite a lot of crossfires established between the last 4 remaining players. You can also see Rastin right now shooting out a Toxic Babe to essentially cover his back and try to force out the gunfight from Harvey, but Katsola is actually going to be there to claim him first, and Rastin peeking around. Those suitcases will shut down Hafo as well, and in a rather decisive manner, it's going to be Machine Soldiers taking the first round.
Yeah, apologies, you may have just heard a motorcycle going past my streets. It's my windows are absurdly thin. But yeah, getting back to what's important, that early spawn peak, I mean, you hate to see it because we're here to see that kind of top level siege. And spawn peaks, yes, they do take a little bit of talent, and really teams at this level should be expecting and preparing for them. But for me, it takes away from the content that's actually in the round to watch and talk about. But these players, they're not playing for content, they're playing for the victory, and Machine Soldiers taking that with aplomb. Some very good holds, not only from the original spawn peak, but also these roamers, they're darting in, picking up a kill, and then running before they can get refragged. That's why at the end you saw a 4v2 and not a 3 or a 2v2, because they escaped the refrags. And the Trash Bandits, their attack was very, very scattered. Now we're going to go to that double bar side, Sunrise and Blue. And I'm a big fan of this site, depending on how it is set up, because you can defend this site from just about anywhere on the bottom floor if you open up that big wall into the courtyard. But that's a double-edged sword, because not only can you fire out, the attackers can fire in, and it opens up so many different opportunities for strategies and ways to play the map. I absolutely love this site.
Yeah, as do I. Machine Soldiers, I have no doubt about the fact that they might be hunkering down, or at least 1 or 2 of their players will be sitting comfortably over by that main lobby so they can hold down long long lines of sight looking in towards the actual blue bar. Trash Bandits, though, it's going to be entirely up to them which part of the map they will consider their focal point. Obviously, Machine Soldiers, they are trying to grab as much real estate for themselves and try to deny Trash Bandits every single inch of the entire first floor, as they are employing a one-dimensional hold of the site. Trash Bandits, they will kick things off by shutting down the Meister, which is a huge pick. Unfortunately for them, those Evil Eyes will remain static, and Soggy will also shut down Katsola. Now, as opposed to round number 1, Trash Bandits, they are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and almost complete reverse, isn't it? You know, they take the first 2 kills as opposed to Machine Soldiers, and that'll throw Machine Soldiers off their momentum a little bit. We see they've got scant cover on that A site at this time.
Trash Bandits, they have the luxury of taking their sweet time right now, and yeah, on the side of Machine Soldiers right now, it is going to be rather difficult for them to pull this one off because they have about 100 seconds to actually burn. Trash Bandits on the opposite end, they will take things nice and slowly. There's no reason to get overly aggressive, overly ambitious. They should just take their sweet time, and keep in mind that positioning is key. They need to make sure that if they engage, they can get that refrag off. But as I say that, Apex, he'll actually get away with shutting down Harvey, and nobody is there to respond. In the meantime, we're going to see Petsu try to wide swing around, but Kuzvo is actually there to shut him down, and Soggy on the opposite end will finally get that refrag, as he's currently on a triple kill, shutting both Apex and Rastin down in a matter of seconds while entering through that office door. And Trash Bandits, they're going to fight back in a rather decisive manner, putting us at an even scoreline of 1-1. Just as our previous map, Villa, this is proving to be really back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we like to see. You know, this is going to be a hugely competitive map, and this entire matchup, it's been back and forth the whole way. No team going on a streak of any more than 2 rounds. And, you know, interestingly enough, we've gone back to that very frag heavy meta, but not seeing the diffuser really, you know, get too far towards the site. We're just seeing the kills come out. And, you know, you do love to see it. You do love to see just a straight up slugfest at times. Now we're going to be moving on to this kitchen service site, and I also quite enjoy this site. I don't think there's any site that I personally don't enjoy playing and watching on coastline. Service, kitchen, you've got to hold that top floor for as long as you can, or if you're an attacker, you've got to take it. But also in taking that top floor as an attacker, you've got to be mindful. It's very easy on this map to waste time taking that top floor. And we see we've got the operators designed to slow people down. We've got the castle barricades, we've got the vigil able to, you know, dart about and pick at this Trash Bandits team at will. And then obviously we've got all the intelligence as well coming out from that Maestro and Valkyrie. I quite like this setup, and it'll be interesting to see if Machine Soldiers can pull off a defense.
Yeah, so far right off the bat, there is going to be some roaming presence on the top floor right now, but I don't believe the Machine Soldiers are opting for a dedicated hold of that projector room, which usually tends to be the norm if you want to deny direct entrance to that penthouse side of things, which can be considered to be one of the primary beachheads for the attackers to employ verticality in their strategies. But Katsola right now, with his Wi-Fi router on his back, will continue to waste quite a bit of time as he tries to go for a peek from that luggage window. Sadly, that's going to give away his position, and he'll be forced to retreat further back down the site. And Trash Bandits off to a relatively slow start compared to the previous round right now, but I have no doubt about the fact that the pace will be picked up as Apex will shut down Kikov, who has been a star player thus far on the side of Trash Bandits.
Yeah, here we see the book now opening up the floor into kitchen and getting those extra fresh, funky angles. And they are going to see a couple of kills come out. Hoffa with a kill onto Apex, but Apex immediately beforehand having a kill onto Kuzvo. The refrags coming out. And this round, the pace just won't let up, will it?
No, it won't, and I'm interesting to see what Cozzolo right now is planning to do. He'll pop open that castle barricade, trying to get the flank off, and a beautiful crossfire established will shut down Soggy. That is a really, really well-timed pinch coming out from Machine Soldiers, leaving the Trash Bandits in a 2v4 situation. Hoffo and Harvey yet again. This is exactly kind of a repeat of round number 1. It's the exact same 2 players in a 2v4 situation, and unfortunately for them, Harvey and Cozzolo, they will actually finalize the trade onto themselves, leaving the Nomad in a 1v3 situation to clutch this one out. 60 seconds left, and he's gonna get caught out by those feet holes by Petsu. Machine Soldiers, they're once again going to reassume their lead.
I know it's not relevant to the gameplay, but how clean was that line at the bottom of that kitchen wall? The OCD in me is particularly pleased with that. But, you know, that matter aside, the important stuff is that Machine Soldiers take a lead. And, you know, that's very, very key. They stay with the momentum of the attacking team. And again, we're at this neck and neck, round for round gameplay that we saw in map 1, which made for a very engaging experience. Not too much change in terms of this attacking lineup, but this defensive lineup, we're seeing the pulse and the smoke come out as we return to this hooker lounge. I'd quite like to see, you know, 1 or 2 defenders, one of them being Pulse, try to hold actually from underneath. That Pulse especially can be so powerful in Sunrise if he's got someone to cover him, especially with that CV. And the UMP, not the best gun in the game, I think you'll agree, but firing through the floor, a bullet is still a bullet, and can be very, very hard to pull him out of that area. He can dig in like a tick and slow the attackers down.
While I do agree with you, on the other hand, the last time that the Machine Soldiers visited Hookah was in round number 1, and surprisingly enough, it was actually Petsu who was the first defender to go down at the hands of Cuzvo, and that happened relatively early into the round. So if Petsu does want to actively roam on the first floor and actually provide information in real time, he will need somebody to back him up regardless of where he chooses to hang around.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you put a Jaeger down there with him, or, you know, maybe even a Smoke who can back him up and doesn't have to run around putting down extra utility down, that'd be fantastic. Conspicuously, there's no early spawn peaks here, because, you know, presumably the Trash Bandits, they're now fully onto it, they know that it's coming, and they probably don't think that lightning will strike twice, so the Machine Spirits aren't even going to try. They'll hold their angles, and they'll wait for the Trash Bandits to come onto them.
Ooh, and come on to them they will. It's going to be Harvey kicking things off yet again. Petsu is the first to go down. That cardiac sensor has been flushed down the drain. And if you're Machine Soldiers right now, you're kicking yourself in the butt, because that is not how you want to kick off this round. Katsola tries to wide swing over by the office door, but he'll actually get away with his life, as none of the 2 players actually exchanged shots. But I believe that Katsola is actually going to be going for a repeat soon enough, but he is stuck inside of security right now. And Trash Bandits, they're onto his case. They're going to pinch him out in a matter of seconds, and Katsola at this point, unless he's got godlike reactions and aim, he is almost certainly dead.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to see the Valkyrie playing in that security area, which is somewhere that perhaps isn't the most relevant place to hold in this scenario, but he will go in and he'll try to get a refrag onto Kuzco as Rastin falls after the drop.
Yeah, so Katsola right now in dire straits. A quarter of HP left right now, and Trash Bandits, they are going to primarily focus themselves on that lone Valkyrie, although I did catch in the corner of my eye, Apex is at the bottom of the main staircase trying to provide at least some form of backup. And if I were Trash Bandits right now, you've got yourself at most 1 person that is actively keeping himself occupied with Katsola. The other 4 players, they can start pushing on towards site, because look at this, there's actually nobody on site. We obviously saw W35 moving up towards that Cool Vibe staircase, and Apex has since rotated back towards the B-bomb site. Trash Bandits, they now have the luxury of moving in towards Billiards and getting that diffuser down.
KC is actually taking far too much time spending in that kitchen, not clearing anyone out, when he could be used up there as, so, you know, helping this push onto the objective. Instead, we are seeing a very delayed push onto site come out from Hoffo, and the kills will come out as Maestro gets a kill and a down onto Harvey.
Kick will also shut down Apex in the meantime, putting us in a 2v2 situation, and I believe Harvey should get that withstand off in a matter of seconds, but it's going to be the wide swing coming out from Kikov and Kuzvo. They will both grab themselves a kill for their troubles, and Trash Bandits, they are not letting their opponent's machine soldiers run away with this match. And yeah, yet again, it's just so extremely back and forth. Moving into round number 5, we sit yet again at an even score line.
And again, you see Kick of the not letting his team fall. He's going to come around. He's going to come from kitchen, from out of nowhere, and clutch the round up. After Maestro almost won the round himself, downing not only the diffuser carrier, preventing the plan, but also downing the player behind. So that's very, very good clutch play again from Kickoff. We've come to kind of expect that, haven't we?
Yeah, he has really he's been shining bright through and through, especially in map number 1. I believe he dropped 23 kills if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, if you're Trash Bandits right now, that is something that you do not want to let go of. Obviously, performances, they can vary depending on how comfortable you are on a map. People obviously have bad days in Siege sometimes. But Trash Bandits, obviously coming off a huge wave of momentum in map number 1, they need to carry this over. And despite the fact that Machine Soldiers are a very competent team, they always somehow manage to find themselves with the lead in Coastline thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've gone back up to this hooker site because they did enjoy a little bit of success. Sure, they lost the round, but they lost it in the absolute death. All they need to do is refine what they're doing. We are seeing the hunt for spawn peaks here, but Apex will not remember his lines there. He'll miss the spawn peak attempt. And now this Trash Bandit side is put on notice.
Yeah, they are going to keep in mind that, yeah, Machine Soldiers, they are a relatively unpredictable team to a certain degree, playing a lot of unorthodox positions and angles through and through, and this duo between Petsu and Katsola is going to either be a huge success or an utter flop altogether, as we see that Petsu is able to use that cardiac sensor to provide the locations of the attackers, while Katsola can just toss out a C4 and deal with them accordingly. So we're going to see Petsu pop out the cardiac sensor, spots one, I believe, on the roof right now. And this is still a relatively slow approach coming out from the Trash Bandits. And yeah, Petsu and Katsola, they're going to continue to just hide inside of that service entrance as Kickoff will get the opening frag onto Rastin. Those toxic babes have been flushed down the toilet. Not a great start for the Machine Soldiers.
No, in control with a minute and a half left as well of that aqua site taken. I don't think they realize it, but that A site is basically empty. Only the Maestro peeking it through a bullet hole. But it's not going to matter as Petsu, with that UMP, will take out Soggy, the IQ falling, and Katsola taking out the prolific Kickoff.
Ooh, this is not boding all too well for Trash Bandits, but Kuzvo is there to capitalize onto Katsola as he is unfortunately looking up the hatch. Petsu, in the meantime, has also been injured. And yeah, the tables have turned yet again with Trash Bandits now in the driver's seat yet again. Really, really good job salvaging this round thus far, but they have to pull through right now. The last two speed bumps are effectively just W35 and Apex, who are hunkering down on site. They just have to waste about 50 seconds of time, and Trash Bandits, yeah, they're gonna take a couple of seconds as a breather to just gather any live intel, and I believe that Apex was thinking about getting that revive off, but he's gonna have to think twice and reconsider where his focus should be. We're going to see Hoffo toss out a couple of flash grenades that will be caught out by a couple of ADSs right now, and this is where the execution needs to actually come to fruition. Apex is going to grab one, immediately being refragged by Harvey, leaving the lone Maestro with the Alda in hand to clutch this one out. He has to worry about two different angles. He's going to spot out Harvey and take him down. He was already on very low HP, and he's going to also clutch this out by shutting down Kuzvo. My goodness.
What a lovely shot. And the clutch out as well on his own. He's got two people pinching in on him from two different angles, 180 degrees worth of FOV to cover with that quick turn. Flashes, turns, domes one, turns, clutches the round out. Absolutely fantastic play from W35. The throwables, they didn't really come into it in the end. It was a very rushed push towards the end. And I think the early pick onto kickoff from Katsola really made a difference. If they can take kickoff out early in the round, they seem to win that round. Unfortunately, it's very hard to just target one person, but kickoff, especially with Ash in his clutches, is always going to be an ever present threat. Very good attack. The roam clear was there. It didn't quite come out perfectly, but they did manage to take the man advantage, and it was only some heroics which clutched it out for the Machine Spirits. I'm disappointed though. I have to raise a complaint because I loved that penthouse site. I think it's very entertaining to watch to see what teams do to try to hold it, and we haven't seen it pick so far. What are the
I
Machine
mean,
Soldiers doing?
don't get me wrong, Tom. It has kind of fallen out of the meta over the last couple of years. You don't necessarily see it brought out all too often, not even at the highest tiers of competitive Siege, because to a certain degree, it's just really, really difficult to hold. Like, there aren't many spots inside of Penthouse that you can effectively sit behind and feel safe. You're effectively just limited to hiding inside of that projector room, which kind of makes it, yeah, arguably the worst site to defend on this entire map. While even though it has a huge entertainment factor, a lot of teams, they don't want to play it.
And I suppose I'm going to have to go without Penthouse in this defensive half because, as you say, it is arguably the least viable site on the map. It is extraordinarily difficult to hold, but damn, I want to see Penthouse.
Well, maybe
Instead
in
of
the
that,
next
though,
half, we will see
well,
Penthouse.
it's possible. I might slip the Trash Bandit to Fiverr and see what happens. But
Oof.
for now, we are going to see Soggy fall to a spray from Rastin, and the first pick will come out.
So, yet again, Soggy, unfortunately for him, he's gonna go down, but at the exact same time, there's not all too much use that electronic scanner could have actually proved to actually bring into this matchup. We're gonna see Harvey take a couple of shots from the reception area inside of the main lobby, as there are two players from the Machine Soldiers currently stacked up on there. They're gonna continue to hold that main lobby with an Iron Grasp, and Trash Bandits, yeah, if they don't come up with some sort of magic to, yeah, salvage the round, they could forfeit the first half with the scoreline of 2-4. Katsola on that Oryx will continue to hold the kitchen side of things as he is being pressured from two sides. The wide swing coming from Kickoff will deal with him accordingly, evening the odds out yet again.
Yeah, absolutely. And that the Oryx play perhaps a little odd anyway. I wouldn't have expected to see an Oryx pick on Coastline, where I don't think he actually has much utility. It's not the kind of vertical map with the hatches in the same way as some others, but losing Katsola early on, realistically, is very, it's damaging to the efforts of the Machine Soldiers, especially with some other very, very capable fraggers on the other team.
Yeah, and so Trash Bandits right now, the clock doth tick, 45 seconds left on the timer right now, and they are committing for a full eastern to western take of the entire building. I don't believe that they have actually yet spread out their forces to actually push from the western part of the map, but I don't believe it matters all too much, as they will shut down Apex, who at the exact same time has proven to be a really competent player on the side of Machine Soldiers. W35 will even out the odds yet again by shutting down Kickoff. What a potent and overall just impactful kill. Hoffo at the exact same time will shut down Rastin. That is going to be the mute off the board. And now Trash Bandits, they do have 10 seconds to work with, but at the exact same time, Machine Soldiers, they will shut him down. Hoffo has to get that diffuser down, as that Evil Eye will deal quite a bit of damage to him, but Petsu is going to wide swing around from that Sunrise entrance and put an end to the Nomad. And Machine Soldiers, they're going to close off the first half with a scoreline of 4-2, yeah, they're going to close it off with a scoreline of 4-2.
Yeah, and that's very, very good. 4-2 is kind of what you aim for as a defending side. You know, especially on a map like Coastline, which is widely regarded to be very attacking sided. It lends itself to the kind of aggressive gunplay that favors operators such as Ash, especially in the hands of a player like Kickoff. So to take 4-2 on Coastline against a team of this caliber is very, very good, and I think there's every chance that we're possibly going to see a map 3.
I mean, yeah. Obviously, at the start of this particular coastline map, we've seen that the first 3 to 4 rounds, they were heavily one-sided. Even though it was completely back and forth, we saw that the majority of those rounds, they were quite decisive. For example, round number 1 won by Machine Soldiers. It came down to a 4v1, and so did round number 2, which was won by Trash Bandits. And we have seen a much more even fight taking place between these two teams, instead of just complete domination from one or the other side. And obviously, Trash Bandits, they're going to take the defensive side for a spin right now, and hopefully they're going to be able to break that trend and eventually regain their lead. Or actually assume a lead, because I don't think they were leading at a certain point in this matchup. It's always been Machine Soldiers 1 round ahead.
Yeah, and Machine Soldiers, at this point, they're 2 rounds ahead. They've taken a bit of a lead, and that's very, very important, because I don't think we've at any point in this matchup seen one team take a 2-round lead. Be interesting to see if they can start to run away with it in these attack rounds, or if the Trash Bandits themselves on defense now can pull it back. We are seeing the one night come out in the hands of Kickoff, and there it is, that AUG being put to deadly effect against Petsu.
Ooh, that was a high risk coming out from Kickoff, but damn, did it pay some dividends. That is a really, really good start for the Trash Bandits, because that's going to be Gridlock off the board. Such a really, really powerful weapon in the form of that saw off the board, as well as a pair of smoke grenades and 3 track stingers. Now just completely gone. Trash Bandits. That could have been the best opening pick that they could have hoped to actually get.
Yeah, absolutely. The Gridlock, she's has a difficult time in the meta, but she can be effective, as Rastin will actually throw a grenade and take out Kickoff. So it's interesting that he was able to get a grenade to a specifically anti-throwable operator. That's a bit of a misplay from Kickoff there.
Yeah, in the words of Emperor Palpatine, that was ironic, to say the least. But it's going to be Rastin as well to shut down Cuzvo. That Maestro, yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be the second operator to go down on the defensive squad. And now Machine Soldiers, with the man disadvantage, they can put their heads together and start committing to a full execution of their attack strategy, as they will start to repel and assume a position outside of that Alco balcony before ingressing towards. On the opposite side of things, Katsola is repelling on that big window right now, providing a lot of active coverage, as Rastin is currently down below at the exact same time. Machine Soldiers right now, yeah, they do have a lot of time to play with right now, but it is going to prove to be just a very sudden explosion as we approach the end of this round.
Yeah, you see there they've got Aqua Control, Smoke already, perhaps prematurely deploying his smoke grenades in an attempt to keep them out of sight, but they're not actually covering the entirety of the entrance. Fortunately, there is also a mute watching the Aqua entrance, but W35 will push and will start getting that plant down as the smoke falls.
That is unfortunate. 2 more Toxic Babes, they are unfortunately rendered useless, as W35 will get that diffuser down. C4 will net a kill onto the Zofia, but Rastin immediately responds, leaving Hoffo in a 1v3 situation. And there is a triple crossfire that was established by Machine Soldiers, and they will claim his life. And Tom, this is the first time in this best of 3 series that we've seen a single team win 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. Machine Soldiers starting to run away with it. 2 more rounds and they've evened up the map deficit, and that's huge. It's going to take something very, very impressive from the Trash Bandits to come back. Unfortunately, I think they may be relying a little too heavily on Kickoff, their primary fragger. And as he gets taken out early in the round again, what way does the round fall? Taking that fragger off the map, that's it's more important than possibly it should be at this level. No one player should carry your team in the way that I think Kickoff has been very, very openly doing. That's not to disparage the rest of the team. It's not that they're doing badly, but without him, the other team are doing significantly better. And that shows in the scoreline. 5-2 to the Machine Soldiers. And, we're not seeing any truly exceptional fraggers on that team. It's just they're all clicking, they're all vibing.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty much even kill counts coming out from the side of Machine Soldiers, and to a certain degree also arguably from the side of Trash Bandits. Obviously, Harvey's sitting on 3 kills right now, and Soggy could pick up the pace just a tiny bit, but at the end of the day, they are the ones who are playing support and tend to get a lot of impact frags in the entire round, which, yeah, it can to a certain degree just change and shift the overall tide of a particular round.
Mm. I want to draw attention though to W35. I think, in map 1, he was quite good, but he's really shone in this map so far on Coastline. He's really dictated the pace of play for his team, doing very, very well. He's not got the most frags, but he has done exceptionally well, and it's not all about frags. He's had those, very big impact frags. He's taken on Kickoff several times and won, and he's come out with a few big maestro plays in his defensive half, so very well done to W35. And the rest of the team are clicking as well.
So that was going to be Apex trying to get a nasty wallbang off to Harvey. I do believe that he took a bit of damage with that within that gunfight, but certainly not enough to put him under the ground, well, specifically 6 feet under. And we're also going to see, I believe, one of the players inside a kitchen is droning themselves in, as Apex will also shut down Hoffo. It's a really, really good opening frag right now, and Apex will be left on about 40 HP-ish, but he can just brush that off his shoulder and continue to fight as he has been doing so this entire matchup. Early advantage goes yet again the way of Machine Soldiers.
Absolutely, Apex not needing HP because he in fact has no hitbox, so that's okay. We are going to see a couple of players now enveloping the site. We've got the flank set up, and Machine Soldiers, they're ready to take this objective 5-4.
Well, I don't think that Petsu should be the operator repelling over by the big window. You really want to put that Gemini replicator to good use. At this certain point, it doesn't necessarily matter all too much because their main focal point is going to be dislodging Soggy, if not outright killing him. A whole buttload of frags are going to come out from both squads as we now find ourselves yet again in an even playing field in a 3v3 situation. Machine Soldiers, yeah, they have been setting the tone thus far, but now they have to pull through. They have been slowed down quite a bunch, as Kickoff will also shut down W35, who has been oh so potent in this particular match thus far, and is also going to be Kickoff on a triple kill to just shut down Apex and force that diffuser to go down inside of Aqua. Now Rastin choking on a lot of that toxic babe gas, stuck on the cool vibe staircase, excuse me, sitting on about a quarter of HP right now with 30 seconds left. Try to salvage this one out. I don't see this happening, Tom.
No, unfortunately not. No grenades, no utility, no hope, not in a 1v3.
He will come and make his way up the top of the cool vibe staircase, but Soggy is there to shut him down with a nice little buckshot to the chest, just basically setting that entire round in stone. And Trash Bandits, they are going to fight back. They're just letting their opponents know, you guys are not running away with this match. Not from us.
No, absolutely not. And it is a dogfight. Make no mistake. Trash Bandits, they're not going to sit down or they're not going to roll over. They're going to take this fight to the bitter end if they can do so at all. Seeing a couple of changes up, we're going to see a Wamai being picked by Kuzvo rather than Kickoff, who's opted for a Doc, who I don't think you actually see too often in the competitive meta. Are we about to see a retaliatory spawn peak as a retaliation for the one in round 1? That should be interesting in and of itself to see how Doc is played at this competitive level. But we are going to go down to that kitchen service entrance site, and this arguably my favorite site because you've got all the verticality that comes into it. You've got pixel peaks. You've got the ability to smoke off an objective from the outside. This objective site, it's got a little bit of everything, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's to a certain degree you can consider this site to literally be the whole package of Coastline. There's so many different ways that you can play this one out. You can attack it in multiple different ways. You can, yeah, there's just so much potential both on the defensive and offensive side in kitchen and service entrance, and we are going to see we're going to see right now Trash Bandits, they have a slightly different defensive philosophy when it comes to first floor kitchen and service entrance, as they have set themselves up, and effectively dumped quite a lot of utility inside of that projector room so they can essentially reinforce their entire upstairs hold.
Yeah, conspicuously, you say there's a lot of options for taking on that kitchen site. They have no hard breach, so taking out those hard walls is not going to be an option for them, so they've got to do it the hard way. They've got to egress onto site through those doors. Either, or, either service entrance or the window from the outside, or pushing through the building, pushing the Romans back, and getting the frags. I think this is going to be another one of those frag out victories, if it is to be an attacker victory, as opposed to a bomb plant.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Tom, but I believe the Trash Bandits, they might just be holding on to all of the cards for this particular round because that's projector room specifically. You can only really make your way onto it from that doorway rotation hold or use a butt from beneath. So Trash Bandits, they can effectively waste a buttload of time holding the upstairs area. And to start things off, it's going to be Rastin to go down first on the side of Machine Soldiers. That is a really good start coming out from the Trash Bandits themselves as they shift their focus towards luggage. Apex will get the kill on Takoso. He'll make it a double by removing Kickoff as well. Such a potent player on the side of Trash Bandits, and now it's all collapsing for them. Machine Soldiers in a 4v2 situation as they can recover Petsu in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. And, now we are seeing the man advantage come out, but with a minute left, they're still stuck on that top floor. They need to start aggressing onto the site and moving onto that bottom floor, as opposed to keeping control of that top floor. It's too late for that to make an effective difference. They need to start pushing onto site and putting pressure on this Smoke and this Maestro.
Yeah, and the main reason that the Machine Soldiers really need to start applying pressure to the bomb site itself is to start baiting out those Toxic Babes. Keep in mind that 3 Toxic Babes equals 30 seconds of area denial. The sooner the Machine Soldiers can bait out those Toxic Babes, the better.
Round has slowed down a little bit, hasn't it? We're not seeing any frags anymore. We are seeing these holds come out, and that's not a very usual hold that Maestro typically holds on this map. Being able to hold in blue bar, he's got to have a bit of confidence to know that he's not going to get flanked on, and these attackers, they've got to start pushing and rushing.
It's going to be the opening frag coming out from Soggy in this engagement, and it's also going to be the double coming out from the remaining Smoke player, and Hafo actively on that Evil Eye will shut down any hopes and dreams that Machine Soldiers could have hoped to muster in this round number 9. It's going to go the way of Trash Bandits, and they are oh so very close to equalizing things out yet again.
Yeah, again, I said at the start of the round, it's a dogfight. They're not just going to roll over. But first, I think both of us have a little apology to make because we've actually been pronouncing Kickoff very incorrectly for the entire stream. It is in fact pronounced KCKF, as I've been reliably informed by a close friend of his, and so I think we'll endeavour to make that our preferred pronunciation now.
KCKF doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue all that easily, if you ask me.
So are we officially renaming the guy against his will?
I don't know. I think we should just probably stick to KC.
KC, that seems fair. That seems very fair. We are going to move on now to this double bar site, and we've yet to see the Trash Bandits actually hold this site, haven't we? I believe they've done well in the defensive rounds so far, and is this going to be the site where they actually evil it out again? And that'd be very impressive, and I would argue that would give Trash Bandits the mental edge to push on and take the series, because it's all well and good getting a 3-round advantage on your enemies. To have it then wiped out almost immediately, if Trash Bandits win this round, that would be absolutely devastating for the Machine Soldiers, and it's at the stage of the game they can't afford mistakes. We are going to see the Clash come out. A very interesting pick, possibly to slow down these attackers and make the timer a 6th defender. Another one of those things that we keep talking about here in the ESA.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see exactly where Kuzvo is going to be playing currently right now on the Cool Vibe staircase. And yeah, we can also see that there's a lot of utility, barbed wire, and reinforcements being committed to that hookah side of things. KC is going to get the opening frag onto the entry fragger himself. Apex will be the first to go down on the side of Machine Soldiers. And just like Apex and KC, they are kind of interchangeable. As soon as one of those two entry fraggers or just overall promising players goes down, yeah, the round is essentially for the taking for the opposite party.
Yeah, there we see Kuzvo as Clash being very effective in slowing down and basically stopping outright this roam. But we are going to see the grenades possibly being used, sent out, and there. Oh! As I was about to say, the throwable's being rendered ineffective by the Jaeger, but that grenade landing plumb on Clash's head, and W35 also getting a frag onto Hoffo.
Yeah, trying to recuperate Kazuo is going to be no easy task right now, as Soggy is caught in a gunfight between himself and the IQ, although a stim pistol is just enough to get the Clash back on her feet. Just yet again evening out the odds with 70 seconds left on the board for Machine Soldiers to work with. The verticality is in play right now, but the calls are coming through the team comms and they will have to basically shift their focus towards that Sunrise entryway. But oh, wait, the site is completely empty. There's nobody on the side of Trash Bandits actually on site. They can effectively get the diffuser down without any contention. Soggy will try to get the refrag, but W35 has finalized the diffuser. Katsola gets one onto Soggy, and Kuzvo is trying to just move his way up. Hetsu will take down Harvey with those track stingers, putting us in a 2v3 situation. This is not how we expected it to go. Kuzvo will do his best to fight back by shutting down Petsu, and so it's going to be W35 being injured in the process, and now it's going to be the Clash able to actually get the diffuser down, and it's going to be Trash Bandits. They will salvage the round in... I don't know, Tomo, but there's only one word that actually comes to mind to describe what just happened, and that is kerfuffle.
Yeah, what do you say to that? What a round! Like, the defense, it was solid, and, the Doc restim, reviving the Clash there. It takes utility to remove a Clash effectively.
It,
We are
as
going to go for a rehost as Petsu has dropped from the game, so we'll be a couple of minutes, but that gives us time to fully analyze that round because honestly, what happened? We saw the Clash very effective on that top floor on Cool Vibes, preventing the preventing the I'm sorry, I've actually got fireworks going off outside, so if you could just take over for a moment.
Yeah, of course. So breaking down exactly what happened in that round is not going to be an easy task for us because, look, to a certain degree, Trash Bandits, they had a really, really good hold, but at the same time, it was a really poor hold because they were able to keep and maintain control of the perimeter outside of the Sunrise Bar. They were able to shut down any and all highways that the attackers could have used to their advantage, but the main issue was the fact that they were completely exposed on site. And that is kind of where that 200 IQ read came through from the Machine Soldiers to just start moving into Sunrise and claim all of that free real estate for themselves. And at the exact same time, like, look, retaking Sunrise, it's no easy task. Not a lot of teams actually have the capability of doing so. And the fact that Trash Bandits were able to pull that off is one, proving that they are such a potent and adept team, but the exact same time, credit is due where it's due. And the main reason why they were able to retake Sunrise so easily and get that counter diffuse was because of the Clash.
Yeah, like we discussed, she's one of them. Either you love her or you hate her operators. She can be easy to deal with, but it takes utility as opposed to gunplay 99% of the time. And when she's able to become safe after being injured, and then get stimmed, that's round defining. But
Yeah.
I loved the intel play because as soon as Clash went down, they saw that the team had moved offside to try and engage Cool Vibes, and W35 just went, "Hey guys, there's no one on site. Let's go!" And the entire team just ran, took
Mhm.
control of that Sunrise entry, and very nearly clutched the round out and picked the pocket. of this Trash Bandits team. It was an exciting end, and that clash, able to get those kills at the end, and then there's a fuse.
Yeah.
Again, that's what makes the Duck Stim all the more round defining. Fantastic round, to be honest, and I really, really enjoyed it.
I mean, it was enjoyable because let's be honest with ourselves. How many rounds do we actually get to witness that play out in a similar fashion as this one? Practically none. Practically none, because the majority of the teams, they will at least have one man sitting inside of Sunrise, and then it just completely the tide of the entire round would have shifted. But no, this was just messy. I hate to use the word, but this was just messy coming out from both squads.
Absolutely. Sometimes a messy game is the best because, it's one of those where because both teams are having to scrabble, you really see what they're made of. You can
Yeah.
have all the strategies in the world and you can be as calm as you like. When those strategies fail, when the plans, they go all Pete tongue, and when you've got to adapt and improvise on the fly, that's when you see the real competitive pedigree of a team. That's when you really get into what makes them them. And excitingly enough, it was the Trash Bandits to level us out at 5-5 who had the mental fortitude to win out that round 10. Very exciting stuff. The teams are both back in, the lobby is full, and we are now in the pick phase round 11, and I'm absolutely hyped.
Despite the fact that this match has been completely back and forth, we find ourselves at an even scoreline yet again after it was the Machine Soldiers establishing a 3-round advantage between themselves and the Trash Bandits, but they were able to claw back in a rather spectacular fashion, and they are looking to close this one off, potentially the entire series as a whole, and take this one home 2-0.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what I was saying about, the mental effect of, hey, we're 3 rounds ahead, and then all of a sudden, they've just won 3 rounds on the fly themselves and have brought it back. And again, we're back to that neck and neck playstyle, except in 3 rounds blocks as opposed to 1. And it's incredibly exciting because both these teams, they're going to be fatigued at this point. They've been playing for over 2 hours. And at this stage, it's very much about just holding your nerve. Who's going to blink first?
I mean, I don't know. It still could be anybody's game. I mean, if you take a look at Villa, it went down to the wire. Anybody could have won map number 1, and I wouldn't be surprised if we will see yet another overtime brought out in Coastline, which, yet again, could literally be anybody's game. Only the really, really early rounds of Coastline have been extremely one-sided, but the majority of these rounds past have been so evened out, it's difficult to predict exactly who rises victorious.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Hoffa falling, the first defender to fall in round 11. The nice shot coming out in chat, as I'm sure it was, and that's a big boon for the Machine Soldiers as they look to take round 11 and make it match point for them. Map point, I apologize.
Yeah, Machine Soldiers with the early advantage, shutting down that roamer presence on the eastern part of the map is going to allow them to take control of the entire first floor without having to worry all that much about any contention unless one of the Trash Bandits roamers decides to come down one of the staircases, which I believe will not be the case thus far. Rastin, yeah, not really the right tool for the job if you want to employ some verticality. You would want to have a buck ideally, but he's going to make do with just shooting a couple of vertical bullet holes instead.
They will slow down a little bit as we reach the halfway point, and I don't think we're actually seeing too much happening at this stage, are we? It's gone very, very slow and stale as of the halfway point.
Yeah, it definitely has, but I have no doubt about the fact that the pace will pick itself up as machine soldiers. They are ready to get their execution underway. They are all currently lined up outside of Aqua, and now Casey is the lone defender inside of that aquarium who will have to fend for himself. And I didn't necessarily spot out if any of the trash bandits are actually able to provide any covering fire, but there comes the wide swing in. Katsola is going to be the first to go down, but immediately refragged from W35, and now machine soldiers, they have claimed all this real estate inside of Aqua. They have a couple players out on Repel, which is definitely going to work in their favor. And now Trash Bandage, they are basically just limited to using a couple of bullet holes to actually challenge some of these angles. And they just have about 30 seconds to waste as the smoke grenades and track stingers will start to come out. Toxic Babe will deny the default plant location as Petsu will claim the life of Soggy. Now Kuzvo and Harvey in a 2v4 situation. They will have to clutch this out as Harvey will manage to grab one for himself, but W35 is there to respond. Kuzvo also taking the life of Petsu. He'll make it a double kill, and he tries to get the third, but no. It's going to be W35 shining that champion charm to prove exactly what he is. Round goes in favor of the machine soldiers.
Yeah, map point to the machine soldiers, but we've been here before. And, you know, Trash Bandits, again, it's a dogfight. They're not going to let it go. And that was not the most secure victory in the world. They were actually sacrificing players in order to get a kill onto KC, who I think has actually been relatively quiet this map compared to map 1. Not sure if he's just fatigued or if the rest of the team, or the rest of the players on both teams have picked their game up, but he has been kept a little bit quiet, in my opinion. We are going to go to Hooker Billiards again, with Trash Bandits hoping to just secure their grip on Hooker and Billiards this time. Big thing they need to do is they need to just have an extra barrel pointing that aqua direction. You can't leave it all to KC, because unfortunately, as good as he is, against 3 players all hitting him from slightly different angles, you can't back him to take that. And the enemy team, they quite clearly have a plan to isolate the Wamai, bring him out into the open where he can be fed into a kill box.
Machine soldiers have been so proficient and so efficient as well at clearing out those pivotal operators that are just lurking about around the site. And I'm gonna have to disagree with Trash Bandits right here. I don't think that second time is the charm right now. When you lose a round just as round number 11 in such decisive fashion from your opponents, you'd have to think to yourself that maybe Hookah isn't really the play, and that you might actually have to go to a different site if you want to solidify the round and move on to overtime.
Something that's struck me quite heavily is that we still haven't seen a Thatcher come out at all in any of the attack rounds so far, either for Machine Soldiers or earlier for the Trash Bandits. And a Thatcher charge put on the sides of that bar, it would take out those Wamai. It would take out the magnetic pancakes. It would take out the Jaeger ADSs, and it would make that blue bar area, that aqua area, much easier to clear out. But we are going to see Raston pick up the first kill onto Kuzvo. Those evil eyes will no longer be as effective.
Unfortunately not for the Trash Bandits, not the best start for them, and now Machine Soldiers, they have also claimed full control of the bottom floors. We see Katsola trying to push up the Cool Vibe staircase, but Soggy will just flick onto his head and deal with him oh so fabulously, to say the least, evening out the odds yet again as the IQ will go down. And that technically means that fishing out any sort of gadgets that are present will be a bit more difficult for the side of Machine Soldiers. And we are very close to approaching the halfway mark of the entire round, and it's going to be Raston killing himself effectively with the frag grenade. Not sure what happened there. And Hoffa will also get the flank onto Apex. And Machine Soldiers, this round just fell through their fingers in a really, really unfortunate way.
Never say die. You can't say die. Although with 4 of the Trash Bandits still on the field, and W35 and Petsu, they are very capable players, but they're not really in positions to make these big fragging out plays. These window and the balcony, very difficult to make plays from, and there is going to be a run out. It's going to be very difficult, but Sophia will just escape.
Yeah, that was almost certain death that W35 was facing. And yeah, 40 seconds left right now. I'm not exactly sure what their plan is right now. They may just fully commit to a take of the Shisha Lounge, but it's not gonna bode all too well for the machine soldiers. And as I say that, it's gonna be KC grabbing and claiming the life of W35, leaving Petsu all on his lonesome. Still has two smoke grenades in his pocket, but yeah, he's gonna actually get the injure on the Wamai, but those toxic babes are going to basically force him out of the Shisha Lounge as the clock hits 10 seconds. This is not looking to happen at all. He will claim the life of Soggy as well, pulls out the Super Shorty, and will force the diffuser to go down, but instead, opting to get off of it, patting that KD, and it's going to be Harvey to claim the life of Petsu. And Trash Bandits, they're going to take us to overtime as our regulation rounds simply aren't enough to determine who is the victor.
So, not that I'm pressuring you to call it, who are you going to back in this overtime? Because we've been here before in Trash Bandits, they've proven that they've got the mental fortitude to fight back, and not only fight back, but take these crunch overtime moments.
I honestly don't know who I'll have to side with. As a caster's code, we have to remain impartial. That's just how it is. But honestly,
Boo! Biased casters, best casters.
uh, oh gosh. But honestly, there are just every single bomb site plays out so differently, and I'm not saying that from a strategic point of view. It's just that you will see the attackers win an attack on hookah, and then the defenders will come back the following round. This literally could be anybody's game, and truth be told, I'm not really 100% sold on either squad because there's just such a high fluctuation in who eventually takes the round, regardless of which bomb site we visit.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to see the Trash Bandits again take to this hooker billiards area in their first overtime round. They do have the first defensive round, and they did take the final round in regulation play on this site. So they've got to be feeling good. They're used to the strats. However, so are machine soldiers. They took it the first time we went to this site. They did fall in round 12, but they've had time now. They know what to expect coming out from this Trash Bandit side, and you'd have to say they've got a good chance of taking this first overtime round. We will see.
Personally, I really don't know because the Trash Bandits have visited hookah and billiards more than any other site in the second half, and they have a 50% win rate on it in this match alone. So I'm still not sold on who can actually take this first round of overtime. Honestly, it's really difficult to predict how the trend will follow and who will actually break it in its entirety. But Machine Soldiers, they're going to start off by taking control of Sunrise Bar, and this looks to be a repeat of our previous round. I'm still unsure as to why Rastin wants, or why Machine Soldiers don't want to bring out a buck to just aid them in their overall verticality play and apply pressure from down below. It's rather questionable.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very tight. We're a minute in to this overtime round, and there is still no frags, although Apex will fall. The Ash falling to a burst from Hoffo as that Mozzie, and that's a big opening frag as we approach the halfway point.
Yeah, and that was unfortunate for Machine Soldiers because they also had somebody to actively drone Apex in. We are going to see Lobby disconnect from the lobby, and Soggy disconnect from the lobby. That was a bit of a tongue twister for whatever apparent reason, and that's going to put us in a 4v4 situation. Unfortunate for Trash Bandits, but they're going to have to make do with what is currently on their plate right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We are halfway through the round, so rehost is not applicable halfway through this round, and we are artificially placed into a 4v4, though a fantastic frag grenade will come through the floor as Reston will eliminate Kuzvo on that Valkyrie behind the bar.
Now, I'm pretty sure that Kuzvo didn't even get the chance to expend one of his nitro cells, so that is not going to bode well for the Bandits right now, as Machine Soldiers have taken complete control of the Aqua side. And we can also see in the glimpse, or the corner of our eyes, it's going to be Harvey hiding inside the luggage, ready to get a flank off, but Hoffa from underneath, or where? No, not from underneath. He got the C4 to deny the default plant location, and KC will also grab the kill. onto Kitsola, as well as Petsu on a double kill right now. The lone Sledge, the lone SAS operator on a hair of HP right now, has 22 seconds to claim the diffuser or claim the 2 lives of the remaining defenders. He will slowly move up towards the billiards table right now. Any single one bullet, if somebody sneezes on his body, he will most surely go down. He tries to peek around. He notices the one player is hiding behind the deployable shield, decides to check behind the bar, and that is going to be his undoing. As Trash Bandits, they will take round number 13 before we move on to a rehost.
Yes, the Trash Bandits, despite officially losing Soggy halfway through the round to a disconnect, are able to resoundingly hold that site and take the first overtime round, putting them in control of match point. Conversely to map 1, where we actually saw the Machine Soldiers go 7-6, Trash Bandits in a very, very good position at this stage, as we are starting to get a rehost organized and get into this overtime match point. But that was a very interesting round. We saw a lot of very good plays come out from these from the machine soldiers as they attacked, and a couple of very, very good plays. And unfortunately, we haven't actually seen to we didn't see the just reward, I think, come out as the Trash Bandits replied very, very effectively.
I've got to say, Tom, that it's incredibly difficult to predict exactly how these rounds are going to pan out because every single one of them plays out so differently regardless of the overall skill from these two teams which they bring to the table. And the main reason why that has to do is because the refrag potential from every single round differs so heavily, and you will constantly see, for example, machine soldiers in our previous round, they managed to get the opening frag and they had themselves a man advantage, but then Trash Bandits, they came back and just wiped 2 of the soldiers clean off of the planet. It has been so extremely back and forth, and I strongly believe that this has to do with the fact that the refrag potential sometimes is there and other rounds just is completely absent.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. And as well as not necessarily all pushing as a team together in one spot, which was arguably the downfall of both teams at points in the first map. What they're actually doing is they're spreading out just a tiny bit too much, and as you say, we're not seeing too many refrags come out. Unfortunately enough, we did see the Ash fall very, very early in that previous round to the Mozzie, and she was pushing completely alone. No one around her for the refrag, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the match. We
Yeah.
are just taking a little bit of time to get these lobbies sorted. We do apologize for the difficulties at this time, although we're sure the wait will be very much worth it as we are heading into an overtime match point. Trash Bandits currently sitting on 7, and the Machine Soldiers on 6. It's worth mentioning as well that the Trash Bandits they made a comeback midway through the game, didn't they? And
Yeah.
that's in itself, we've covered it before. It's very, very impressive, and it'll have given them that confidence boost. Now that they've also got a match in hand in overtime, I'd have to back them to take not only the map but the series as well.
Well, obviously they have what it takes to win out this round. The one reason why they might lose this round number 14, second round of overtime to Machine Soldiers, is because if you take a look at the round history, they have played in total 7 rounds straight of defense. They haven't they haven't actually attacked a single time since the first half. And obviously, it's really, really controversial of me to say that they might not be 100% in form to attack yet again. But sometimes you see that once a team has been defending for so long and then they suddenly have to move back to the offensive side for overtime, they might just not be feeling it. It's entirely possible that that could happen.
Yeah, another thing that I want to pick up on as well is that every offensive take we've seen of that hooker billiard site has been through Aqua onto default plant in billiards. We haven't actually seen any takes come out successfully from either VIP because there's no hard breaches that can realistically take that VIP site and open up that wall without putting themselves in a considerable amount of danger. And
Yeah.
additionally, it's very, very it's very, very difficult for them to push in from that'll hook a window and hook a balcony because the angles being covered are just too strong. So every offensive push on hook a balcony so far has come from that aqua area. Sorry.
Yeah. And not only that, one thing that I managed to pick up on throughout the majority of these attacking rounds, specifically on hookah and billiards, is the fact that they they obviously always go for that default plans behind the billiards bomb, but at the same time, they consistently have one player repelling on big window to provide some kind of crossfire and to shut down the smoke, who usually plays behind billiards bar in case they peek their head. But one thing that I see lacking almost round to round is the fact that there's almost no pressure actually being applied from the 90 hallway over by that default cam. And to a certain degree, I feel like it's needed in case if you have a spare man, because that can actually cut off at least one avenue that can be utilized as a rotate for the defenders. Or you could potentially have one player sitting on the roof to also cut that rotation off, but we just don't necessarily see it. They go for a really what's the word that I'm looking for? I'm not exactly sure, but I don't. But the thing is that they go for an execution onto that billiard site, which is relatively to the book every single time. And because they're doing it to the book, they, to a certain degree, leave themselves exposed because they're constantly playing the exact same post plan positions, which the defenders can easily pick up on.
Yeah, and there's so many different factors to consider going into this final map. But we have had at this stage 13 rounds of very solid gameplay from both of these teams. The time for them to strategize is gone. What they need to do is they need to focus on what they are doing. They need to get what they're doing, the fundamentals, right. If they can do that, then whichever team blinks first loses. If they spend too much time getting into their own heads, over strategizing, overthinking things, then it's going to impact on their gunplay. And at this stage, in this kind of dog knife fight, you
Hmm.
just need to stick to your fundamentals. You've got your job, go and do it, win the game.
Yeah, I'm don't think that there's any better way to actually put it. Um, yeah, I still think that this could be anybody's game. It's been so close between both of these two teams in Coastline as well as Villa. I don't know about you, but I think that we will need a third map to settle this.
Well, that remains to be seen. Whilst we are waiting, for this final rounds to get underway. We are still waiting for the lobby to completely fill up after an
Mm,
internet issue has affected the Trash Bandits lineup. We do have another match coming up for you. We do have Aero Revolution against the Pretty Boys. That'll be covered by myself, Two Doors, and again, our very incredible production manager, one underscore Overwatch, who production is one of those things. It's perhaps not given the recognition it deserves, especially for things like this, where he's not only producing, he's also observing and doing the tournament admin. A lot of things on his plate right now. He's organizing the game, he's getting people into the lobbies, he's
yeah.
casting, he's broadcasting this whole collection of audio and visual inputs live, and that deserves a little bit of recognition. So many, many thanks on behalf of myself and Two Doors, and I'm sure all the viewers, to him for all of his efforts. We will be bringing you this action live as soon as we can, but I think for now we are just going to cut to a very, very short break whilst we get the lobby filled. So stick around, we'll have some Siege on the way. Hello
And
and welcome back to the ESA Contender Series Playday 2. We have, as promised, got all of the players back into the lobby at the end of a very exciting match on Coastline. It's currently 1-0 in the series to Trash Bandits. Machine Soldiers have to take 2 rounds to keep their place in this match alive, as the Trash Bandits took the first overtime round. We are going to bring that action very quickly to you, and here we go. Round 14.
yeah, there's really no telling exactly who will win this one out in both of our maps that we've seen thus far. Regulation rounds simply aren't enough. We are going to be going potentially the full distance, a full 15 rounds right here, as we are going to be moving into round number 14. It's going to be the Machine Soldiers on defense and the Trash Bandits on attack right now, as they are looking to close things off with the final scoreline of 8-6 on Coastline, and as well as sealing the deal with our series, closing this one off 2-0, and it's going to be up to Machine Soldiers to fight back and win a defensive round.
Yeah, absolutely. If the series was to end 2-0, it would be both deserved and undeserved because Machine Soldiers, they deserve to take something, even if it's just pride from this series. But Trash Bandits, they've gone 3 rounds down at one point and they've pulled it back to eventually take a 1-round lead in overtime. Both teams deserve something from this, but it's not about what's fair, it's about who's best. And at the moment, Trash Bandits are in pole position to seal the victory as they take to the attack, whilst Machine Soldiers look to defend Hooker Billiards, their first offensive round in 8 rounds.
Yeah, and the exact same thing goes on the flip side for Trash Bandits. The first time that they are attacking in a really long time. And right off the bat, you can already see Cuzvo donning that buck will be able to use the skeleton key to his advantage, creating a lot of destruction vertically from down below, which is something that Machine Soldiers have not really been employing in their previous attacker rounds thus far, which to me was kind of worrying, but it's good that Trash Bandits, they are going to be setting a new and fresh tone for what could potentially be the last round of overtime right now.
Yeah, we are seeing a double, 2 operators holding down in that sunrise area, and a spawn kill will come out from W35, not too early in the round, but a kill from inside the building to outside from the Maestro, and that is big, isn't it?
Yeah, not even sure if Hafo got the chance to place down all of those air jabs, but unfortunately for the Trash Bandits, diffuser will be dropped outside of the blue bar window as they will continue to push from the eastern part of the map, slowly ingressing towards the western side, and eventually going for a site execution. Losing a Nomad isn't necessarily the worst operator to lose very early on, but yeah, you lost the full HP player as well as a solid gun.
Yeah, we got the Ash there darting around and about as KC looks to pick up a couple of frags and level up that operator deficit, but as it stands, we are still 5-4 in favor of our defenders.
That was a really interesting claymore that we saw the Zofia Harvey put down over by Apex, and he's going to have to be very wary of that, making sure he doesn't accidentally step into it. But what do you know? Yeah, that's not what you want to see for Apex right now. I'm not even sure if he managed to pick up onto it, so that's unfortunate, but nevertheless, Petsu will fight back accordingly and shut down Harvey effectively, just, trading that one out. Little to no trouble there for him, and the Toxic Babes will also start to come out, denying direct entry from the Aqua to the Billiard side of things.
Yeah, massive kill that you can't really understate from the pulse there. Really effective C4 kill from below to again just take the momentum away from this Trash Bandits team, who are now fully stacked on the Aqua side. We are going to see Soggy start moving up to try to take control of that big window as they try to open up overlapping fields of fire.
25 seconds left right now, and the Toxic Babes will continue to be a nuisance for the Trash Bandits as flash grenades will start to just flood in through the entire site, burning any leftover ADSs. A team kill coming out from the Machine Soldiers won't work in their favor as Soggy also gets himself another kill, and suddenly everything has turned flip side. W35 tries to deny the plan with his evil eyes, but it's actually going to be KC. 2 seconds left. Can he stick the diffuser? The clock is going to hit 000, and now W35 will try to actually deny this from below, but instead he's going to grab an easy frag onto Saki from that Sunrise window. 2v1 right now. This is very winnable for the Maestro player, despite the fact that he's sitting on a quarter HP. It's not going to be an easy task, but it's still winnable nevertheless right now. He'll awkwardly find himself inside a blue bar, not exactly sure what's going through his head as he finds himself in office, looking to get a wide swing onto one of the potential players, hiding outside, but he can't really find anybody, and the clock is ticking. 15 seconds left, and it's going to be Cuzvo hiding outside of the ruins. We'll catch a glimpse of his head crossing over the blue bar, and yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic there. You know, unfortunately, the Maestro caught between a rock and a hard place. I'm not 100% on what he was looking for as he went on that little bottom floor roam with the diffuser down. You know, he only has realistically 35 seconds, not the 45 time limit, to get to the diffuser and start diffusing before it's too late. And unfortunately, he couldn't quite do it. The series will then fall 2-0 to the Trash Bandits, a very deserved win of 8-6, but only 3 rounds separating these two teams over the course of 2 maps. And what a game we've just seen. That was absolutely incredible. You know, we saw a lot of individual brilliance. You know, we saw KC, a lot of people referring to him as a hard carry in the chat. A very, very talented player. We saw the rest of the team kind of like galvanize their spirits and really start to pull their weight. On the other half of the bracket, you know, we saw Machine Soldiers. They did very, very well to take a lead, but I think the defining moment for me in that map 2 has got to be the mental fortitude displayed by the Trash Bandits as they overcame a 3-round deficit to eventually take the W. A very well executed 2-0 series sweep.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you on that. That the Trash Bandits, it was their match to win, and it was well deserved. They would not shy away, even if they were facing a 3-round deficit, and they came back crawling and gnawing. They eventually just decided to grab their opponents by the scruff of the neck and just, you know, yeet them out of the entire series. So huge props, huge congratulations for the Trash Bandits to close off what was really just an intensive slugfest between these two teams, just gnawing at each other round after round, and Trash Bandits being the team to break that trend and rise victorious. Huge props to them.
Yeah, absolutely. A very impressive win for the Trash Bandits. Plaudits to both sides. They both made a very, very good fight of it. As it stands, though, we do take a 2-0. We do see the Trash Bandits take a 2-0 series sweep. And with that, I think we are going to shortly go to a small break whilst we set up the lobby for the next match, which, contrary to what I said earlier, is actually going to be Aero Revolution versus Regnant. A very, very exciting matchup that we've got ahead for you.
Yeah. So we are obviously going to cut to a short break momentarily as we get our next match set up. Don't go anywhere, or, you know, go somewhere, but come right back, grab yourself a drink, a beverage, something to eat. Make sure to visit the bathroom as well. I know I need to myself. And then we will be back in a short few minutes with our upcoming match. Until then, stay tuned. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ESA Contenders Division. I'm Tudor, and I'm joined here by Delta Bacon, aka Tom. How are you doing, my guy?
Well, it's been a long haul so far. We've just come off the back of some incredible siege action, two big overtimes, and yeah, feeling a bit pumped for more.
Yeah, obviously lined right up for us. Our next match is going to be Aero Revolution versus Regnant. Obviously, two new faces within the ESA division. And we've also got the map pools up and ready for you guys. We are going to be visiting Clubhouse to kick things off as map number 1, followed by Oregon. And I'm already excited for that because it's going to be my first Oregon cast.
Hey, good luck, have fun at all.
Yeah, likewise for me. It should be a good laugh. We are going to go firstly to this coastline map though, a map famed for it's almost one dimensional, isn't it? There's a couple of routes around, but realistically, you're fighting one room to another as opposed to fighting all in one room. It's got that kind of dynamic. We are going to go now to the operator ban phases, and we're going to kick things off with Regnant banning Capital.
Yeah, Capital has always proved to be such a nuisance to deal with on the defensive side. You can use Capital in a number of ways, specifically when it comes to attacking CCTV. Using one of those asphyxiating bolts from either the bottom side of garage or from outside the CCTV window can deny any active bandit tricking and thus aiding the attackers in their quest to open up that CCTV wall. Thatcher, no surprise over there, huge ban rate, and he'll be removed right off the board. And the first defender
Absolutely.
ban, yeah, it's also going to be Mira.
Yeah, a 6-inch blade never loses reception unless he's banned and yeeted from the operator pool. The Mira coming out, reasonably common ban. She's always going to be one of those top ban rates. Very positive win delta, but only when she gets picked. And the final ban to come out again from Regent will be Goyo. So the second map in a row where Goyo has been banned, and I won't get to see my beloved Vulcan shields being deployed.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to cut you off for 1 second right there because you said yeeted. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I personally am a strong proponent of the fact that the past tense of to yeet is yoked.
You can think that all you want, but I've got English A levels, O levels, and stuff like that says I can make up words if I so choose.
Okay, then I guess we're gonna have to probably let Twitch chat decide this one for us. Twitch chat, if you're on Team Tudor, it's yoked. If you're on Team Tom, then it's
the correct
yeeted.
Team. If you're on the correct team, it's yeeted. But that's merely an aside to the events that we're going on for. We are going to see a couple of picks come out. We've got the Maverick coming out as we go to that CCTV cache room. Although, I believe we do in fact have someone who's taking a while to load into the lobby. Cue jokes about SSDs. But that gives us more of an opportunity to look at these operator selections. We're seeing both a Maverick and a Hibana before the 6th pick, and on the defensive side, quite conspicuously, no Bandit prior to the 6th pick.
I've got to say that, yeah, while it is the norm to bring out a Bandit, it is a good read because, let's be honest, you can't really do all too much against the Maverick. As soon as Maverick starts opening up that bottom line, that bottom horizontal line of the CCTV wall, you're left relatively exposed. So 6-picking onto the Rook essentially might be the right call, although I would have preferred a Dock, to be honest.
I mean, well, the flip side of that argument is if you really want to keep that CCTV wall, that external wall, which is crucial to any defensive effort closed, why not bring along a Cade? It's extremely difficult to find them. You need to make sure that the Maverick and IQ are working in perfect sync to remove the Cade charges, and there are spots where Maverick simply can't reach the Cade charge. So, perhaps a bit of an odd approach to this site, but we are going to see that CCTV wall get completely sealed up and the round will get underway.
If I'm not mistaken, is Big Dave running an old Supremacy charm on his MP5? It looks like a Supremacy charm from like back in year 1/year 2. I might be mistaken on that.
Unfortunately, my feed isn't the clear, so I'm not able to tell you, but if it is indeed the case, then it's going to be a case of whether new blood can take out old blood. We are 30 seconds in, no frags as of yet, but the gunfire is staccato and all around the place as K5Z will take on Big Dave with the first frag.
So that's already a brilliant start off for Aero, as they have assumed full control of the bottom floor directly underneath CCTV, which means that they will effectively be able to start employing some form of verticality to their advantage. On the flip side of things, Regnant, yeah, they're just going to continue to hold off that top floor to the best of their abilities, as Biscuit will begin putting that blowtorch to good use.
Yeah, we hear them, they're going for that Maverick trick, which is creeping further and further into the meta. And this is a technique that I quite like to do, but I prefer using a Blackbeard because, you know, it's perhaps a bit sweaty, but it's very, very secure. But with the Severe, they have the charges to open up that CCTV wall very, very quickly. And now they can push into that CCTV room and get angles on the defenders.
In the corner of your screen, you'll also notice that Evolution will shut down Frenzy as well. That Nitrocell is unfortunately going to be rendered useless, as Evolution also claims the life of Chalky. Those Evil Eyes are now rendered completely useless. Evolution currently on a triple kill right now, and holy moly, that's going to be Aero Revolution closing off round number 1 in a rather decisive fashion, as Heavy just decides to charge in, completely ignoring that toxic babe gas, and will take the life of the last remaining defender on the rafters.
Yeah, and as soon as that CCTV wall opened, you know, as with many things on this map, it's about these focal points, these external walls that really, really define a round. You know, if you can get the external wall open on CCTV or in that gym bedroom site, then you have halfway won the battle already, because there is very scant protection for the defenders inside. And there we saw it led to a rafters clear, it led to an egress of the attackers onto site, and eventually the frag-based win. We are going to go now to that Church Arsenal room basement site, and this is one of my favorite sites because there's so many ways to defend it, there's so many ways to attack it, and a lot of it depends on focal points that are difficult for the defenders to hold.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always crossing my fingers that we'll see the classic SSG strat being brought out on a clubhouse basement defense, but sadly, yeah, we're not going to be seeing that in this particular round number 2. And judging directly off of the operator picks so far, on Regnant's side, there is no Kaid, meaning that Heavy will be able to put those X-Kairos pellets to good use and open up the hatches with little to no contention. And Biscuit will also use his blowtorch most likely on the dirt tunnel, so they can also apply pressure from the far northern part of the basement.
Yeah, absolutely. The round will start, and we do see that the hatch has been sealed, but again, with the lack of a Cade on the pitch, it's going to be very, very easy to get that open. Although we do only have one hard breacher, and Hibana is going to have to pick and choose where she deploys her Hibana pellets, because, you know, she does have a limited supply. Although conspicuously, we're not seeing any attempt to impact trick this kitchen hatch or any of the other hatches for that matter. So that could be perhaps a mechanic that Regnant either don't feel comfortable with or they haven't considered.
I mean, it's something that they should definitely at least work into their strategy. As soon as that kitchen hatch is blown open, then yeah, it's going to make things much more uncomfortable for Regnant to defend. There goes the impact trick. Unfortunately, 2 of them were expended to deal with 1 set of X-Kairos pellets, meaning that Frenzy is going to have to call one of his teammates to maybe get off a second successful impact trick in case if Heavy decides to go for that. But, you know, it's much better to try to get that Moto hatch open and also that blue hatch before committing to any other things. And I believe one of those X-Kairos sets actually failed to stick. So that is going to be a huge mistake on the side of Aero Revolution, meaning if they want to get open that blue hatch, they will have to put Biscuit's blowtorch to use instead.
Yeah, perhaps a bit of a misplay there. You know, it'll be interesting to see if it does make a big impact on the remainder of the round, as we do see Biscuit here warming up a frag to toss through the gap in the floor, very nearly taking out Big Dave, only scratching him at this stage. Big Dave clinging onto life with about 25 HP.
Yeah, so we've got ourselves less than 80 seconds left on the clock right now. Yet a single frag or a single frag has yet to come out from either side, despite the fact that a chunk of HP has been taken off of Big Dave right now. But Aero Revolution, they really have to pick up that pace if they want to get off that execution. And meanwhile, Biscuit is continuing to try to get that kitchen hatch open right now as the drones will start to come out. And there's the opening pick, immediately traded right back off by Chalky. 4v4 situation, and losing that Sophia is not the best operator, and at the exact same time, Monster is there to shut down the Wamai before Chuma inside of Church will get the refrag as he's also being pressured from Moto. But no, it's actually going to be the crossfire established by Heavy, and Aero Revolution, they've made their way inside of the Church bomb site. Big Dave is the last remaining defender on less than a quarter HP right now. All of this weight and pressure is currently on his shoulders right now as the diffuser will successfully go down, and he's just getting a lot of live pings to try to get off a successful wallbang, but it's not looking to actually be a fruition just yet. He'll whip out the pistol, tries to land out a couple of shots, but it's a bit too little too late as Aero Revolution, they will take their second round in a row in quite a decisive fashion.
Yeah, you know, and a difficult task made even more difficult as he runs out of ammunition, doesn't have time for a reload, whips out the pistol. And at that point, it becomes an almost impossible task to clear out the defender, to clear out the now defenders as they huddle around that diffuser. A very good site take, you know, and the trades came out very late in the round. So interestingly enough, we saw about 2 minutes of that game where not a huge amount was happening. It was more setup and positioning and maneuvering from the attacking side. We saw Hibana open up the hatch above that shrine area, and we saw the Maverick attempt to open up that hatch in kitchen. I don't think he was actually successful in the end, but he instead rotated around and managed to get the plant off. Some very, very impressive communication being displayed by this Aero Revolution side as the call went out reasonably early that they'd actually taken control of that church area, and they were able to cycle around and get the plant down. Regnant, they didn't do anything necessarily wrong, just perhaps overindulged a little bit in their defensive plays as they overextended, swung a little too far, and lost those crucial 1v1s towards the middle of the Fragfest. But a couple of positives. They did get a nice couple of free refrags at the start, and they shouldn't be dissuaded by their performance in round 2 as they take to the same site for round 3.
So obviously they're looking to rectify their previous mistake in this round. They are going to bring out a slightly different operator lineup as Frenzy will 6-pick off of that Rook and instead bring out the Goo Mines on that Legion, which could aid them in their overall defensive strategy, and he also comes decked with 2 impact grenades, so they can continue to impact trick those kitchen hatches if their heart desires. And so on the side of Aero Revolution, yeah, I don't necessarily think there's all too much to say in their regard, because when it came to those dying seconds of round number 2, they executed their attack strategy almost flawlessly despite being in a 3v3 situation.
Yeah, and again, we see the early posturing from this Aero side as they start configuring the second floor to their own needs. They're opening up the hatches, they're getting themselves in a position to push, and it looks like predominantly on these blue stairs, which is where they found a little bit of success in round 2.
Yeah, obviously, blue over by that electrical unit is a power position for the defenders, and Aero Revolution, they want to claim it as swiftly as possible. You'll see right here, K5 tossing out a bunch of projectiles, removing a lot of barbed wire, and I'm not sure if they managed to catch out the shield just yet. No, Chalky is going to continue to cower behind that deployable shield and waste as much time as possible. Aero Revolution are crossing the halfway mark right now, and they have successfully managed to get that kitchen hatch open. But other than that, they have yet to start moving into the basement itself.
That's very true. However, we did see it take this long last time, and the first kill will come out from K5Z onto Chalky, and all of a sudden, utility room belongs to Aero Revolution.
We are going to see K5 also establish a long line of sight in towards Deep Armory, trying to find the head of Frenzy, but this is looking as a complete, this looks like to be a complete collapse on the side of Regnant, as they have to face a lot of pressure that is being exerted from separate sides of the entire basement effectively. Frenzy will fight back as he claims the life of Biscuit, but I have no doubt about the fact that this will result in a complete collapse. As Aero Revolution, they need to find and funnel their way into Church to get that diffuser down. Chuma is the one and only obstacle that is currently preventing them from doing that. Evolution will go for a wide swing and shut down Frenzy as he tries to get the double kill, but Chuma is there to find 2 heads all for himself, and Monster will also trade that kill directly off. Now, Aero Revolution, they have to try to find a separate and different line of sight and pathway as the diffuser is going down. Monster will also shut down Big Dave, leaving Chuma, the lone Maestro, with the Alda in hand to clutch this one out. It's not impossible as the pings will start to come out. He'll find the head of Monster on a triple kill right now currently, as he just needs to find Heavy to clutch this one out. Tries to hop on the Evil Cam to find the live location, but will do so unsuccessfully. And he is creeping up ever so closely, but the tight pixel angle being held in between those shelves of the weapon racks will claim Heavy the win for Aero, and that is going to be their 3rd consecutive round in Clubhouse.
Absolutely fantastic stuff from Aero Evolution. They pinched in on that Church site, and it looked for a love no money that they were going to take that site, but then they ran into the brick wall. That is Chuma taking heads left, right, and center with that Maestro Alda, but they recollect themselves. They push right on past into the armory, onto the other site, and they get the plant down in stark contrast to what we've seen in the previous game. You know, they're fighting predominantly to get that plant down. I think that shows perhaps a maturity that is lacking in the other teams, because they're able to push onto the side. They know that they're going to get that plant down. That's what they're aiming to do. And they've already taken 3 rounds uncontested from the defenders on what is traditionally quite a defender-sided map. We are going to go back to the CCTV site because they have now had 2 rounds since they lost their first round there, and they decided for a little bit of a change. It'll be interesting to see how they switch things up. We haven't got too much different in the way of operator choices, but Big Dave taking that alibi this time and designating Chuma with the Jaeger. Be interested to see how the alibi plays out in this round.
I'm not exactly sure where you would usually put down those prismas. My best guess is probably on top of the rafters, and I believe that is exactly what Big Dave is gonna opt to do in this case. Yeah, it's just gonna provide something else that's a really, really annoying factor for Aero Revolution to actually deal with as soon as they want to claim control of Garage itself and push up the staircase. But I'm not exactly sure if that is the silver bullet that Regnant need to win their first defensive round.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they may catch a couple of stray bullets, but the thing with that is he's got one pointing towards the open wall. I think that's perhaps a bit redundant, because if the wall gets opened, you're going to know that they're coming from there anyway. At best, it'll attract a couple of bullets from an attacker, but the chances that a defender can push in and get a kill as the attacker focuses on a Prisma are quite infinitesimally small. So I don't know, the utility alibi actually being placed on that rafters is all too efficient.
Most likely not, but we can see right now the hard breachers, they are getting themselves to work right now as parts of the garage wall have been completely breached wide open. I believe we have yet to see Biscuit actually whip out that blowtorch and start working on the CCTV wall itself, but Monster right now is currently on the hunt. 2 players on the side of Regnant are very far from home. One is over by Strip, and if I'm Aero Revolution right now, I'd have to really consider if it's worth the chase. Having one player that you're on the opposition that is currently inside of Strip Club is something that you could ignore if you choose to.
Whilst I don't necessarily disagree, it also offers a very dangerous for a potent late-game deep roam, and I don't know if they've actually been made aware that there is a player in Strip, but it's not going to matter as Big Dave picks up the first kill onto Heavy and removes the Hibana from the attacker's lineup.
Yeah, that is not going to bode all too well for Aero Revolution. The diffuser will be recovered right now, but yeah, This is starting to go the way of Regnant relatively slowly. They've got the majority of their bases covered, but Monster is going to fight back by shutting down Big Dave, who I believe was on the far western part of the map at the time. Right now we're sitting at a 4v4 situation with about under 50 seconds left for Aero Revolution to continue their winning streak, and those toxic babes from Hilly will continue to be a nuisance that Aero Revolution will have to wait out.
Although, interestingly enough, those toxic grenades, they're not actually blocking off the entrance onto the site. They're misplaced, and the Maestro will fall, Chucky falling to Aero, and red control secured by that Ash, as Schumer is also brought down by Biscuit.
4v2 right now for Aero Revolution, and they managed to salvage this round despite being at an even man count. Frenzy will do his best to fight back by shutting down Monster as he pushes towards the red staircase, but the diffuser will almost certainly go down. 2v2 right now, but from outside of the breach is going to be K5 to shut down Hilly. Last lone defender is Frenzy. That's going to be the triple kills. The Nitro Cell will claim the life of Diffuse Planter, and he's going to clutch this one out. Regnant will take their first defensive round.
There it is. That's the hype moment, and that is bang on what they needed. Regnant, they were absolutely collapsing. You know, they had the threat of going 4-0 down in their own defensive half on a defensive-sided map. And what they've done there is they've brought it back from the death. Frenzy, take a bow, son. What a clutch. Speechless.
It's just, yeah, exactly. I'm at a loss for words right now because I was so sure about the fact that Aero Revolution would have just outright won that. But if I'm not mistaken, the C4 that came out from Frenzy, was it pre-placed or did he actually toss it out? I wasn't sure about that. I think he tossed it out to deny the plant.
I mean, whichever, it's Galaxy Brain. Whichever he did, it was Galaxy Brain. Fantastic clutch out from Frenzy, and that's brought his team right back into it. And they're the kind of victories which galvanize a team. When you've got a round which looks like it's dead, it's gone. For love nor money, you're not bringing it back. And then you've got a player who just casually drops a 4K to bring it on back. Oh, you love to see it. And for Regnant, the hype in their comms right now will be palpable. But they're going to have to recollect themselves as we move into round 5. They are going back to this basement site where they've lost twice. You know, perhaps it's been very, very close, but they are yet to take a victory on this church armory site. And so it's going to be interesting to see if now with that galvanization, now with that momentum, they're going to be able to pull this one back.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Once you hop on the hype and momentum train, it is quite difficult to bring it to a stop. And Aero Revolution, yeah, they're most likely going to brush off that round loss right off their shoulders, and they're going to, once again, just do what they do best. And so far, their win record on the basement attack, it is basically 100% right now, and that is another miss from Heavy. Misplay with those X-Kairos pellets, the second time that he's unfortunately, yeah, just misplaced those pellets on a hatch, and that's going to cost him another set to successfully open up that hatch, which will cost him a bit of time eventually, but those really aren't some mistakes that he should be making, unfortunately. We are also going to see Aero Revolution right now make their way inside of Bar as another set of X-Kairos pellets will be placed. And drones will also start to come out to make sure that every single nook and cranny of the far western part of the map is completely cleared out to make sure that there aren't any roamers or lurkers that may bite them in the butt later in the round. And so, still, we are narrowing the halfway mark of the this particular round, and we have yet to see an opening frag. But as I say that, it's going to be Hilly that'll shut down K5, Regnant with the early advantage.
Yeah, and that, you know, establishing that early lead, especially on K5Z, who we've seen has been very effective for Aero Revolution so far, both in the utility and frags, is, you know, it's quite an important opening frag. You know, Monster, Ash, I don't know if that's the operator that I would choose to egress down the tunnel, but we are going to see Heavy take out Frenzy, so the big 4K dropping will not be coming from Frenzy in this round.
That's a huge pick coming out from Aero. They'll wipe him straight off the face of the off the surface of the planet. And at the exact same time, less than 60 seconds left right now in Aero Revolution. They have yet to fully commit to one particular take as they are trying to pinch from multiple directions. They are set up outside of that church wall, and they also have Monster, who will unfortunately miss that entire flash grenade, and it's going to be Hilly to capitalize on that. But a well-placed frag grenade
Oh,
will clean him straight up, and Big Dave will also get caught out by a Claymore. And yeah, how the turns table.
absolutely. The turns have indeed tabled, haven't they?
Yeah,
What
they
a lovely
have.
grenade that was from the Maverick. Dropping a grenade and bang onto I Am Dilly. And that's round defining. But Chuma, he's not going out without a fight. He's going to pick off the head of Evolution. And Heavy is going to creep forward, attempt to covering Biscuit as the defuse goes down. The Evil Eye is there, and it will get taken out very, very quickly as Chuma and Chalky now have to try to bring the round back.
Chalky currently sitting on the hatch right now. 35 seconds left on the defuse timer. Chuma rotating off towards blue, and his teammate is going to get shut down by Heavy, and he's going to claim the double kill onto the Maestro. Aero Revolution, they're going to bounce back right into this matchup and take themselves another round and put the scoreline at 4-1. Regnant, despite their best efforts, and despite the fact that it was, third time's the charm, basement is clearly not the play.
Yes, unfortunately, they've wasted half of their defensive rounds trying to defend that basement site fruitlessly. At Aero Revolution, you can't overstate it. They have been absolutely clinical in their takes, dropping a couple of kills, but fragging out each and every time. We are now going to see Gym Bedroom for the first time in this map, and this is perhaps my favorite site because you can completely remove that middle wall and make it a one-room site, and that's the kind of thing that I love to see. One thing I also love to see is to see the castle barricades coming out. They feel like they're going to go for the strat, which I personally tend to employ on this map, where you castle off the two exterior windows on Gym and in Bedroom, and then the entrance that leads from Gym to that exterior wall. First thing though they've got to do though is delete that middle wall if they're going to make this site as viable as it can possibly be. And what we're actually going to see is the castle going on a bit of a run over to CCTV, and I'm not fully sure what he's intending on doing.
Well, it's nothing all too unorthodox. Usually when you're defending Gym and Bedroom, you will see the majority of the teams overextend themselves into the adjoining cache room because, let's face it, it's just kind of a necessity in today's meta. It's Gym and Bedroom by itself is not a site that provides all too much cover. There aren't many locations that you can actually sit comfortably behind. And if you at least overextend yourself into cache, having reinforced every single one of those walls, you can essentially just cut off any kind of attacker activity inside of construction.
Absolutely, and that is very true. They're going to slow the other team down, but it only takes one ash round, and all of a sudden, that cache room is enterable. And also, remember, if you overextend and hold at that point, you also have to have a presence over in that northern office, because that hatch pops, all of a sudden they've got a direct route into your sites.
We are going to see Monster taking the first step to try to advance onto the cache room itself. Shots will be exchanged. Sadly, none of them will connect from either party right now. And Big Dave is going to continue to hold the cache room to the best of his abilities with little to no contention, despite the fact that Evolution is down below. And that's going to be Monster claiming the life of Hilly, as well as a frag grenade coming out from Biscuit to just sink his teeth right into Chuma, and Monster will also shut down any cache presence. Monster on a triple kill right now, just decimating all over Regnant, and the last player alive is Frenzy. And yeah, Tom, we thought that Gym Bedroom would have been the play, but no, it's gonna be Aero to seal the deal in the first half. Flawless round, and they will take the defensive side for a spin with the scoreline of 5-1.
What a statement from Aero Revolution. And do you know, that was a fantastic team push. But the one thing I want to point out is that's twice in 2 rounds that Biscuit has just planted the grenade squarely in the mouth of a defender. Twice in 2 rounds, those frag grenades absolutely lethal coming out from him. Very, very well played, and perhaps a tiny bit underrated. We haven't hyped him up quite enough, especially when you look at the the statistics surrounding Monster and Heavy, and just Aero as a general, they're very clinical. You can tell they've rehearsed this map a lot. I believe the Twitch chat made reference to them actually scrimming this map heavily, and it shows. They've got their strats, they know exactly what they want to do, and we're going to be seeing them now put their defensive skills to the test as they take basement in round 7. 2 more rounds, and Aero will take the first map in. I think what was a bit of a stark contrast to our first game in that it could be over very, very quickly, couldn't it?
Yeah, entirely. And right off the bat, Aero Revolution, they've got a really, really different overall defensive philosophy. As you can see, Biscuit will be donning the Kaid for the first time in this clubhouse map. Those Kaid or Electric Claws will primarily be placed either on the blue hatch and the moto hatch because, yeah, that's going to force Chalky to essentially blowtorch those open. There's no real reason to actually put an Electric Claw on the kitchen hatch because you can just impact trick any Excalibur spells straight off of it. And on the flip side of things, we can see that Regnant, they're also going to be bringing out the French Mountain, making its debut as well in today's first map.
Yeah, absolutely. It surprises me that they've not yet brought out the best operator in the game, Monty, and I say that as someone who plays him regularly purely because I'm incapable of aiming. But he makes viable situations that are otherwise unviable, and we see here Maverick getting him ready to enter and make a nuisance of himself in that tunnel.
Is that big enough for Big Dave to actually fit through?
That will be interesting to see if he can get through it. And the other thing is they need to drone it out first because as he's aggressing through the hatch, he's very easy to take a pick on.
I mean, I don't know about you personally, but I've always been a huge opponent of actually sending a Monty to push through Dirt Tunnel. I believe that if you want to utilize a Monty correctly, the ideal position to do that from is from most likely that main staircase moving into Moto and then Church, because right here, obviously, as you can see, Big Dave is going to be choking on a lot of toxic gas and he's actually going to be injured in the process, which is really not how you want to be utilizing that operator. But Frenzy is actually going to shut down the smoke. So, tit for tat. And yeah, they're going to be able to pick Big Dave right back on up before Evolution will also claim the life of Hilly.
Chalky also falling to K5Z with that powerful Vigil Blade weapon, and Monster also taking out Frenzy, and it looks like Aero in defense are going to be dominant again, but Monty with a big pistol kill onto Monster.
That was a hipfire kill.
Up.
Yeah, that was a hipfire kill coming from Big Dave right now, and I thought that Aero Revolution, yeah, they did get overly ambitious when trying to contest the Dirt Tunnel in its entirety, but at the exact same time, it worked out rather well for them. Now we find ourselves in a 2v2 situation where Chuma and Big Dave are very, very low HP, meaning they have to be very wary of those goo mines, which will continue to just generate themselves within Evolution's pocket, and I believe that Regnant, they're most likely going to have to alter their focal points as Chuma will claim the life of Evolution, and he'll make it a double by shutting down K5, who tried to go for a rotate on that main staircase, and that is quite the banger to say the least coming out from Regnant.
Yeah, Chima with a couple of big kills there. The Monty, I don't think actually has a huge impact on the play there, although he did get a pistol kill. He could probably have done that with other operators as well. But, Monty, again, I have to agree with you. Perhaps a misplay putting him down the dirt tunnel. Monty, I think I probably have a different opinion to a lot of our viewers in that I think Monty is more powerful when he has room to maneuver, when he can get around these thrown out nitro cells, these smoke grenades, stuff like that. When he's able to maneuver away from them and keep his shield up, he is just a walking, breathing drone that happens to be utterly indestructible in the right hands. But it didn't matter, as Tuma with that powerful IQ MG was able to clean things up and secure Regnant their second round. All the advantages still in the hands of Aero Revolution though, as they go back to this bottom floor site, looking to hold it once more.
Tom, I'm gonna need you to settle something with me, because personally, it just doesn't feel right. Like, in my gut, it doesn't feel right to have Big Dave inside of Dirt Tunnel, especially when you have dedicated presence inside of that Dirt Tunnel to directly counter the Montaigne. Obviously, you saw Heavy, who was able to just throw out those toxic babes, denying direct entry for Big Dave and actually injuring him in the process. If you're Regnant, you have to pick up on that, because at that certain point, you're just playing into your opponent's hands, which is never the kind of situation you want to win. Even though they still managed to itch out a round victory, it's not worth it.
Yeah, it was very risky, and I think it was more a victory as a result of a clutch play from Tuma rather than an absolute outplay from the Monty. They have gone for the same tactic, and Big Dave with the diffuser looks like he's going to be entered into this tunnel once more, although it is going to take more than one tank of gasoline to get Monty in.
It's not just that it's, sorry to cut you off, but it's also the fact that Evolution, they are bringing out an Ella, which means that that's going to force Big Dave, if he walks within the AoE of a concussive mine, to drop his shield, meaning that Aero Revolution could capitalize onto Big Dave that much faster.
Yeah, we see Big Dave there, going back to that pistol, hip fire. It was deadly, but lightning doesn't strike twice. Not with Monty, but he is dragging the attackers in and getting kills for the rest of his team. Evolution will pick up a second onto Tuma, and now Monty having to push in not the best conditions.
No, not at all, because there is an Ella ice cream cone that will force his shield to drop in the meantime as well. 3v3 right now with under 90 seconds left, as Chalky will start making his way down the main staircase. Frenzy and Big Dave, they are currently preoccupied with still trying to push through that dirt tunnel, but they have Aero Revolution's attention right now, and the defenders may not be expecting this quote-unquote flank coming from Chalky, but Biscuit is prepped and ready to receive. Aero is going to be Evolution to get one before Biscuit will actually just shut down the Maverick, and the TCSG of Biscuit will claim 2 lives as well. Damn.
Maverick tries to aggress into that 90 hallway, and Biscuit just gives him the big old don't argue with that TCSG, and then turns his attention to the Monty and just puts him down. Big moments from the Cade player there as we move into map point for Aero Revolution a lot earlier than perhaps we would have expected. 6-2 the scoreline, and all the cards in Aero Revolution's hand.
I'm not exactly sure if Gym Bedroom will be the right call. So far, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, that settles it. We are going to see a 6-pick from Biscuit onto a castle. I was going to get really worrisome because it's almost impossible to defend Gym and Bedroom without a castle. Let's be straight. It's almost impossible.
I mean, that's the thing. We see the Monty play, but I don't think Monty is necessarily the play for a Gym Bedroom take, because you want your operators to be able to hold these angles and crunch slowly on site. Monty, there's a lot of angles at which the defenders can come around and back at him. So I don't think it's as viable as, say, for instance, a Rafters push if we were going to go to that CCTV room, which we haven't been to yet. Yeah. This 9th round of the game, we're going to go to the Gym Bedroom site. We are going to see that essential wall opened up and the castle barricades deployed a little more conventionally, if you're spotting from my perspective.
To a certain degree, I have to both agree and disagree with the Monty play that you specifically touched on, because I personally believe that having a Monty push directly through that cash room doorway will exert a lot of pressure to the overextension, but at the exact same time, Aero Revolution are directly countering that because of those holes that can be created on the basically adjacent wall between construction and cash, which makes it that much more difficult for Big Dave to actually push in. It's going to be Evolution to kick things off by shutting down Frenzy. That is an opening pick that could just seal the deal and basically win Aero Revolution the first map altogether. But at the exact same time, what I did want to add before a heap of kills just came out, Big Dave could push up Red Staircase and then proceed to make his way inside of cash.
You're not wrong, but the one thing I want to point out about that Frenzy kill is in fact that now it makes the Maverick trick unviable as an entranceway, so if they do want to open up the external wall next to Gym Bedroom, they've got to use Hibana. Biscuit will fall, the castle will fall to Chalky. The alarms will start going off, that new utility being used as Maverick is being used on this construction exterior wall.
Yeah, that rotation at the top of Red Staircase is not going to work in Aero Revolution's favor, as they are forced to essentially forfeit complete control of cash, and that is just a ton of real estate that Regnant can claim for themselves as they are trying to make their way inside. And so, yeah, obviously they're not going to opt for a Western push by breaching open Jacuzzi, but at the exact same time, it might be necessary to at least exert some pressure from that side and create extra lines of sight. But unsure exactly what Regnant are opting to do in this scenario. It looks like they're just going to push straight into logistics on the hunt for the lone Valkyrie inside of there.
Yeah, and we see Monty there shouldn't have been able to regress into that logistic office site so uncontested, but Aero will pick up a kill on Dilly and take the Hibana off the board as well. No more hard breach for you, Regnant.
That was a really, really well-timed flank coming out from the Womai. And yeah, 4v3 situation. Make that 3v3 as Chalky will shut down Monster inside of Secret Tunnel. Currently, the attackers of Regnant, they have made their way inside of the bomb site. And the last two remaining defenders, they are forced to essentially push up the main staircase right now as a crossfire has been established. Chalky will claim the life of two players on a quad kill right now. He will most likely get the ace as well, but no, it's going to be Chalky to shut him down instead. Or, excuse me, is going to be Evolution to shut him down instead, and he'll be forced to pull out that castle barricade as a distraction as he tries to go head-to-head against Chuma and Big Dave. This is going to not play out all too well for the Valkyrie, especially even if he gets the kill onto Chuma. Going against a Monty in a post plant is never going to pan out the way you hope it to.
The big mistake there made as Monty just closes the door on the Valkyrie. No need for a final kill. Monty's just going to hold him there. And the final kill will actually come out on a nice little pixel from Chuma as the attackers will take round 9.
I was honestly keeping my fingers crossed that Chalky would have been able to get that ace and seal the deal right there. It would have been the first ace that we've seen today. A for effort, but yeah, it was just unfortunate for him that he wasn't able to claim the life of the Valkyrie over there by the Jacuzzi wall.
Yeah, prolific effort from Chalky, and we're going to need plenty more of those as Regnant. They take another round, taking the total to 6-3, but they've still got to win every match left on the board if they want to take us into overtime. And Aero, they're playing very, very well, and they're now going to what some would argue is the most viable site on the map, CCTV cache. They've got the cage out, so they're probably going to electrify that external wall, which is going to be difficult with the absence of a Thatcher to clear out. Thatcher obviously being banned in the operator ban phase.
If I'm not mistaken, if you go for a Maverick trick on that CCTV wall, and there is a Kaid electrical up placed on the opposite side, as soon as that soft part of the wall is exposed, it's not really considered electrified, so you can still get a soft breach off, right?
You can, yes, but the advantage is that it makes it take a lot longer, and it makes I Am Dilly's utility pretty much useless on that exterior wall, if they do choose to cade it. And obviously also invites the Maverick. It's quite difficult to Maverick trick without getting yourself electrocuted, and so they also get not only the audio cue of that blowtorch, they also get the screams of pain as Maverick gets electrocuted.
I mean, yeah, if you decide to repel while Maverick tricking, you will take damage in the process. Otherwise, you can just stand away from the wall and just actively do that. But spawn kill, attempted spawn kill, I should say, coming out from K5, won't do any points of damage towards, I believe that was Dilly who just ran across K5's line of sight. And yeah, that could have been a really, really pivotal entry frag for Aero Revolution, but alas, it's going to be a 5-on-5.
Yeah, and you know, it puts them on notice, but it also means that Doc is forced into playing these rafters, as that exterior wall is basically almost open.
Ooh, the shadows are going to give away the IQ's position, and that allows K5 to basically prep his gun, but he is being pressured far too much from Big Dave and is forced to retreat outside of the garage rafters, and that is huge for Regnant as they have managed to claim control of the garage in its entirety. Chuma will push up, and Big Dave will get the opening frag onto Biscuit. That is the Kaid off the board. And we can see that Regnant are currently stacking over by the garage rafters, and they're looking to get a default plan off. but they have to be wary of the fact that there is presence down below. The Doc will try to swing, and he will go down by Chuma, as he was there to just counter him and shut him down. It's going to be Monster down below also biting the dust, leaving us in a 2v5 as Heavy and Evolution each pick up one apiece. That is going to deny the Diffuse plant, but Chuma is there to respond. 1v3 scenario right now. Diffuser has yet to go down, but Regnant, they can easily win this one out regardless if they reclaim the Diffuser or not.
And again, it's a game that is decided by one of those focal points. That wall getting opened allowed the Rafters push. The Rafters push forced the Doc out of the A site, and now total control taken. But interestingly, they still haven't yet nailed the plant. Monty not sticking the plant, but Chucky will take off Heavy's head as Regnant take a step closer to leveling the match out.
Only 2 more rounds to go for Regnant before they can bring this to OT, and you know, even though the Clubhouse is stereotypically known as a heavily defender-sided matchup, we've really only seen 1 defensive win in the first half and 1 in the second half right now. It's far more attacker-sided than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, especially for a map that, as we said before, is such a defensive-orientated map. 6-4 the score now, but it only takes 1 mistake, 1 slip-up from this Regnant side, and Aero Revolution will take what I think will still be a very deserved win. Map point still for Aero Revolution as they go back to this basement site where they did enjoy a bit of success back in round 8. But now we're in round 11 and we're going back.
I'm not exactly sure what Regnant is cooking up for us right now, but if they want to pull this one out to overtime, they really have to drop that dirt tunnel push because it hasn't really been working out all too well for them, and they really have to shift the focus of that Montaigne and their overall manpower to other more critical parts of the map, such as that 90 hallway at the bottom of the main staircase as well as blue. Those should be the 2 spots or 2 power positions of the map that you want to claim first.
10 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we are going to see Big Dave and ever present on that Monty again taking the diffuser, and you know, is he again going to push down that tunnel site? A bit interestingly enough with Big Dave as well is we've seen him actually take not 1 but 2 hipfire pistol kills with that Monty, and at this level that's not something you can really be allowing. We are going to see Chalky getting ready to open up this side wall. We are going to see another tunnel egress onto site. The Aero have been struggling to hold so far.
I mean, to a certain degree, yes and no. There was that one particular round in which they managed to get themselves an early advantage of 4-2 because of that dirt tunnel push, but they eventually lost it because Chuma is just a god. And I'm not exactly sure what to say about that. Like, yeah, your dirt tunnel push didn't pan out the way you had hoped, but then again, you have Chuma who clutched it out for you.
Absolutely. You know, we are going to see the smokes coming out, and Big Dave does get caught, but he manages to retreat this time, only taking half damage as opposed to full. But still, that's something he's going to have to be very, very careful of.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Tom, but for my taste, those toxic canisters are coming out a bit too prematurely. One is going to successfully injure the French Mountain, but not finish him off, which is something Regnant would have, or Aero Revolution, excuse me, would have really wanted to do. And sadly for Aero Revolution, scoring is not available here, and Hebe tries to go for the repick. He could have potentially wanted to toss out yet another smoke canister, but he is going to get shut down by Frenzy, putting us in a 5v4 situation, as Aero are forced to retreat a bit further, and yeah, not leave themselves exposed, as K5 will shut down the Zofia.
That's game defining that though. Heavy, you did not need to peek that. You still had smoke grenades. You know, you still could have denied the push, but instead he falls. I Am Daily will also take out Monster, making it a 4-3 match, with Big Dave retreating from the tunnel in favor of possibly revectoring himself to that kitchen hatch.
I think that is the right call. You know, you got 50 seconds left on the board right now, and you basically have a relatively good idea of where the defenders are located, and dropping through that kitchen hatch, which seems to be relatively uncontested, is the play. You'll see the smoke canisters, they start to come out, or the smoke grenades, I should say. It's going to be Biscuit to claim the life of I Am. Dilia's Evolution tries to go for a push, will shut down the Monty, he makes it a double kill onto Chuma, and now the last remaining attacker is Chalky. He'll have to clean up his teammates' mess, but it looks like this one will most certainly go the way of Aero Revolution, as they have every single corner on lockdown. Chalky, there is virtually nothing that he can do with 15 seconds left to play. He'll go for the wide swing, claim the life of Evolution, but from the opposite side of blue, he'll get shut down by K5 and Aero. They're going to claim map number 1, and they'll put us at a scoreline of 1-0 before we move into our next map.
I think Evolution just got bored, didn't it? He just got bored of playing on this map, Clubhouse, and he just went, listen, I'm just going to push. I'm going to push the defuse. I'm going to start the plant. I'm going to push tunnel. I'm going to take everyone out. We're going to move on. Absolutely fantastic last play, and, you know, some absolutely incredible performances. You know, this Aero side, you wouldn't say there's any weak players. They did have a bit of a wobble midway through as the other team came back at them, but Regnant, you know, unfortunately, just dropping the ball on that final round. That said, they did go very far back. They did go very far down, and they made a good go of a comeback. They started fighting tooth and nail for it. But Aero Revolution are your winners of map 1. Next up, we'll be going over to Oregon. It'll be interesting to see where that map takes us. But for now, I think we're going to go to a very short break before we bring you the rest of the Siege action for tonight.
Yeah, so...
Thank you, Bubbas.
oh.
Hello there, and welcome back to Playday 2 of the ESA CGU Contender series. We're on our second match of the evening. Very entertaining match between Aero Revolution, sorry. Bit of a misspeak as Evolution was our MVP last game. Aero Revolution and Regnant. Joining me in the commentary, as has been for the last two matches, is the capable Two Doors. Two Doors, how are you doing?
Well, I am super duper stoked because our map number 2 is actually going to be Oregon, and this is the first time that myself and Tom are going to be casting Oregon, so it's definitely going to be one heck of a fun ride. And I'm just really, really stoked to see exactly what these two teams are going to bring to the table when it comes to Oregon newly reworked and also replacing Border. So don't pay attention to what is currently on the broadcast, even though it says Border. The actual map pick is Oregon. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, interestingly enough, it's coming back into the competitive rotation um, after its rework, and it's an odd one. I'm still as yet undecided as to whether I'm a massive fan of the rework because Oregon was Oregon. It was one of those maps. I didn't think it necessarily needed a huge amount of reworking, but
Hmm.
it is not too bad. Bit of an update. We do have a substitution on the Regnant side. We have Jirachi stepping in for Regnant, but the Aero Revolution lineup remains unchanged. We're still seeing K5Z, Biscuit, Monster, Heavy, and Evolution taking to the field against the Regnant sides composed of Big Dave, Tumor, Frenzy, Chalky, and Jirachi. Should be very, very entertaining, and
Hmm.
we'll be getting to the match in a matter of minutes. But first, let's recap the events of the night. So far, we have seen the Machine Soldiers take on the Trash Bandits, but unfortunately fall to a 2-0 sweep over the course of two maps, which both went to overtime in a hugely entertaining first match. And in the map that we've just witnessed, Aero Revolution took a 7-4 victory on Clubhouse against a Regnant side that resurged halfway through the game, but unfortunately were too far gone. Two Doors, what did you think of that last game?
I'm not exactly sure. Like, obviously, Clubhouse is stereotypically known as a heavily defensive favored map, yet in map number 1 between Aero and Regnant, we saw a lot of attacker rounds actually being won, which caught me by surprise to say the least. And while Aero Revolution, they did rise victorious in map number 1, I still believe that Regnant have some fight in them. And obviously, the fact that they are bringing on Jirachi as a substitute is kind of to a certain degree going to disturb the natural order of their initial 5 stack. But then again, Jirachi is a renowned Rainbow Six Siege player, not just in ESA, but also in EEG. So he will most likely just feel right at home, and he could potentially be the glue that holds the team and brings them back to eventually claim themselves a win on Oregon.
Absolutely. We are going to step now into the game and straight into these operator bans with Aero Revolution in blue, defending and picking the first ban. First man's going to come out, and it will be Montagna. And there we
Okay.
go. A little bit of a target ban, one would imagine. Big Dave now left without any offensive options whatsoever.
Yeah, target ban, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That's one way to put it. And so, okay, yeah, we've obviously seen that Regnant, they are huge proponents and just love bringing out the French Mountain, even though they use him in, to a certain degree, some questionable ways. I believe that Aero Revolution, they just want to keep this, the good old classic way. No shields, just guns straight up running around the map. And so Thatcher is also going to be removed from play, as well as Mira. No big surprises over there. And as far as it goes for the last defender ban, I would not be surprised if we see a Kaid being removed.
Yeah, absolutely, quite a lot of scope for vertical play on this map, and it should be interesting. But actually, we're going to see Maestro removed, and that's potentially a target ban against Tumor, who, with this Aldi, was absolutely incredible, pulling out some incredible heroics back in map 1. He'll now be without the Maestro, so that's a pair of target bans coming out from Aero Revolution against this Regnant side. hoping perhaps to disrupt not only their offensive but also their defensive tactics, as we now see Tumor switching onto the Ash in attack, and Capital being taken by Big Dave in lieu of the French Mountain. 6 picks about to come out, he says.
I mean, most likely
There we go.
Capital is instead going to be swapped out for a Maverick, so bringing out 2 hard breachers, and mind you, this is also the first time that we are seeing Thermite in this particular best of 3 series, which also is really questionable. You know, not seeing a Thermite be brought out in Clubhouse is kind of perplexing to say the least, but you know what? It's all fun and games at the end of the day, and so this might just aid their progress, especially when you're going for an attic push on Oregon. It's going to make it much, much easier.
Yeah, see, one of the things that I quite like to do with Attic is if you're able to stop the attackers from egressing into it, is you can actually leave that wall with the bear in completely soft, or even open it up and give yourself so many more angles on that easterly access to site, and even through to the balcony on the south side. But unfortunately, they have decided to seal them both up, so it'll be down to a Thatcherless Thermite to try and breach on through. I'm not seeing too much in the way of anti-utility, so taking out those bandit charges is going to be a bit of an ask.
Yeah, they can potentially go downstairs into the meeting room, just sit over by the stage, and then have a Zofia or Chuma with those breaching rounds just remove them from above. We are going to see the Zofia of Frenzy unfortunately disconnect, and it is sadly a bit too late to call for a rehost. So Regnant starting off round number 1 with a 1-man deficit. Not the best start off, and so they're going to have to make do with what's currently on their plate. Big Dave will whip out that blowtorch and immediately get to work on that attic wall.
Frenzy has returned to the lobby, but unfortunately now operatorless, and so will not be taking part in round 1. As Tudor said, it is now too late for a rehost, but Maverick is going to attempt to open up this wall, and will do so solo with the frag grenade. So, fantastic single operator being able to open up that wall, and that's the power of Maverick.
Yeah, usually you don't ever think to use a frag grenade to, you know, try to soft breach something because it's just sometimes really, really difficult to actually time it. But it's going to work in their favor nevertheless, and Regnant, they're going to start pushing from 2 separate directions as the exothermic charge was placed on that walk-in closet, but shot by Monster from underneath, which was a really, really amazing read from him, and will effectively deny Regnant direct access to that games room for the time being.
Yeah, Galaxy Brain Blades coming out from Monster as he gets the charge and then runs away. He doesn't need to be there anymore. He's done his job, but Tumor will pick out the first kill onto K5Z.
4v4 situation right now with 70 seconds left for Aero Revolution to essentially just burn it in its entirety right now. They have relatively healthy operators, but they have to be extremely careful for exactly where Regnant is positioned. One Toxic Babe is going to come out, and Jirachi will have to wait that one out, as Biscuit will go and challenge Chalky, swiftly removing him from play. And I believe that was also one more exothermic charge down the drain, which can no longer be used on that walk-in closet. C4 will be tossed out, but sadly won't bear any fruit. But Heavy, standing on top of that dresser, will claim the life of Jirachi, and Evolution will also shut down Big Dave, leaving the diffuser in the walk-in closet. Chuma, 1v4 situation with the R4C in hand, has 25 seconds left to clutch this one out. He'll claim the life of Monster, currently on a double kill right now, which is definitely a good start right now, but it's a very, very uphill battle from this point onwards.
Yeah, it's too late to rotate around, and from that big window, you're targetable from so many different angles, and he will fall. Tumor falling to Biscuit with that powerful secondary, and Aero taking round 1.
So obviously, getting bedroom straight, just done and dusted with, is going to be a really, really huge boon in favor of Aero, because obviously it's not the easiest bomb site to defend. They kind of just made it look easy, to be honest. I personally have quite a bit of difficulty defending it myself, because there are just so many different things that you have to actually pay attention to. It's so many different windows that attackers can repel on. And unfortunately, on the side of Regnant, they weren't really utilizing their environment to its entirety. There are so many different ways you can go about the top floor attack, but sadly, that's going to have to wait for the next round. As we move into the basement side of things, I did catch a glimpse of a 6-pick onto a blitz, I believe. That's going to be Big Dave. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the French Mountain at his disposal, but he'll result to that German flash shield instead.
Yeah, going from the French Mountain over to the German Rave Enthusiast, attempting to sprint in and blind his enemies. Blitz not a pick that you typically see in competitive play, but for a rush meta, you know, we're seeing Tuma also with his drone right next to him. It's every chance that we're going to see a construction site rush here, so be interesting to see if Heavy and K5 can actually counter that. We are seeing the drones already getting ready for a construction rush, and it'll be interesting to see if they do in fact take that option. Blue, the new area freezer being set up as well, but the round will begin.
I don't know about you, Tom, but I think that a construction push is, or a construction rush is just the wrong way to go about it. If you take a look at Aero Revolution, they still have reinforcements in their pockets, meaning that if they feel like if they're getting pressured a bit too much, they can effectively seal off that rotation hole. As we see right now, Big Dave is going to use his flash disc, and he's actually flash shield, excuse me. He'll claim the life of a monster before taking about 3/4 of HP in the process, and the Toxic Babe is going to shut off that rotation for the time being, as Frenzy will also basically force Evolution to push daisies for the remainder of the round. Already 40 seconds in, and Regnant absolutely staggering, claiming the life of 2 defenders on the side of Aero.
Yeah, Big Dave, he loves a pistol kill with a shield, doesn't it? And he charges in, gets the entry frag. Jirachi then picking off Biscuit. Heavy with the Toxic Grenade will take up Big Dave, but Chuma with the refrag and the final kill. Jirachi onto K5Z. That will be a very well executed rush from Regnant in round 2.
I was really skeptical about actually seeing a rush, because it's just not something that you'd... It's just a one-trick pony kind of strategy, right? It's not something that you will consistently bring out time and time again, because it's not something that works. But obviously, yeah, Regnant being able to catch their opponents with their pants down, it's going to allow them to equalize things out, which is... it just means that they're not going to fall behind all too quickly. But this time around, Aero, they're going to be prepped and ready for another potential rush. As you can see, they've brought out that Goyo. Those Vulcan shields will work as an area denial tool as well. And Big Dave opting to don the Blitz yet again.
Well, you say lightning doesn't strike twice, but you know, rushes, they can be very hard to contend with, and you know, we are seeing a lack of trap operators, or perhaps a lack of utility that's viable for stopping egress onto site from construction. I'd be surprised if we don't see these Goyos deployed in such a way as to block off these entrances to construction and force these players to actually vault over, meaning that their shields were less useful than they would otherwise be. We are seeing the drones getting ready. You know, they're scouting out. They want to know what the likelihood is that they can pull off another rush. Remember, Big Dave originally 6-picked onto a Capitao and then decided, hey, let's go for a rush again.
Yeah. One strategy that I have seen been thrown around a couple of times to actually deny a construction rush is if you take a look at where K5Z is placing his bandit batteries right now, instead of reinforcing that wall in its entirety, you create some kill holes at about a head level horizontally across, and then you place a shield on the right side of that pillar. You can put a dock behind there, and he can effectively contest those long-range angles, which is something that Aero Revolution may not be all too comfortable with executing, because, let's face it, it's not a strategy you see on a daily basis, but it is something to think about nevertheless.
Absolutely, we are seeing the utility denial. You know, the Goyo, it has been put there, but it has not been detonated, and so the rush starts the mad scramble as Big Dave will push on site, and he'll help Chuma claim Evolution's life.
That is basically the second time in a row that Aero Revolution have lost the players so early onto the exact same strategy. Something different needs to be done, and they're just not able to cope with what Regnant is throwing their way right now. Big Dave is a force to be reckoned with, and they have to watch out for Chuma, who is over by that rotation. Monster will claim the life of Chuma as well, so that's off to a great start. But Regnant, they're going to make their way in towards that pillar side of things. Yet another Vulcan shield will be detonated, and you can hear those Toxic Babes in the background going off as K5 will also shut down Frenzy before Big Dave exposing his backside will get shut down by Biscuit's TCSG. Now now in a 2v4 situation. Aero Revolution hold all the cards.
Yeah, Big Dave trying to break the lines there, but he gets brought down with a massive slug from that TCSG. Jityachi will take down K5Z, making it a 3v2, but the momentum from the rush has died, and now the defenders have the advantage. They know where these attackers are. Jirachi will fall. Sorry,